too. You're saying if only I could get over you. It's too late to know me. I'm going without you. You're saying if only, if only.
IBNX Radio.
All right, everybody, welcome to this Monday edition of the Leadership Blend with your host, Ricardo Rice, and my correspondent,
Simone Cherie.
Double R.
oh God, Double R's back. Double R's back, and he's annoying me as usual.
Hey, look, man.
And I've gotten better about remembering what day of the week it is. So yeah, I've gotten better at that. So I want my props and credit because
Ricardo and the Burnsters are in the building.
That's right. You know what?
Him
Out
and
the
his group.
gate, I am. Look, Bernie is the most viable candidate we have. If we have any choice or any chance of beating Trump, so yes, I throw my support behind the Burnster. And the only question I have is who is he going to run with? That's the only question in my head. That's it. He's clearly going to win. None of the rest of them, I like them. They're all cute, just like puppies. But no, Burnster has made it abundantly clear that he's the man. And even I'm shocked because I would have never thought I'd be saying this, but he's the man right now. And I don't see anybody else come. Actually, we don't need, hey, everybody that's considering running for 2020, don't. We got about 500 people already. We still got to weed all them down. And, you know, the consensus is they're all pretty good in the middle. But nobody really stands out like Bernie has done. So we don't need any more mediocre people putting their name in the hat. It's good. Y'all dividing too many people. Just stop. You know we got to narrow y'all down to one, so just stop. At this point, everybody else is trying to get in Bernie Sanders good favors, so he'll choose you to be his running mate, and we can call this a day and get the show on the road. I said it.
Joe Biden's going to be his running mate.
Well, we still waiting for Joe to say what he's going to do.
I was going to say, I thought he'd been sort of mulling this over for a while.
Yeah, Joe has not decided what he's going to do yet, so we're going to put it on pause. We're going to put a pin in that because he said he's still considering his options.
Well, there is former Colorado Governor John Hickenlooper, who has announced that he's going to run.
Name. He has a great
Hickenlooper.
name.
I can see that.
That's
I can see that.
Name.
Who's launching a 2020
That's creepy.
campaign.
Is he from North Dakota?
Colorado?
Colorado.
No, everybody's not from North Dakota.
He's from North Dakota. That sounds like a North Dakota name.
I'm sure.
Yeah,
No.
there with the bisons and stuff.
Yeah, he sounds like he should be chasing bison and cow tipping somewhere in the snow somewhere. Like I'm not.
No. So a
impressed.
total of 12, most of whom we've already talked to, and then Governor Weld, who Governor Weld is a libertarian, theologically speaking, but he would be running against President Trump on the Republican side. So he'd be going for the Republican nomination.
Why is he wasting his energy?
He's not wasting his energy. The thing about being a third-party candidate is that there are very rarely great options in this two-party dominated cluster F. And so you have to kind of go with the party that you believe your beliefs will be more aligned with. For example, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is a Green Party socialist unicorn, but there's no party like that. So she's ran as a Democrat. So you have to kind of pick your battles, and that's what he's doing. He's the former governor of Massachusetts. He's not very well known on the national stage, but he is very well respected. If you're a veteran or if you follow politics, you've probably heard who he is. He's 73 years old.
Jesus.
But he was ahead of a lot of issues that we're on now a long time ago because libertarians have been. They've been for justice reform for a while. They've been for sensible gun laws for a while. They've been for weed legalization for a while. They've been for a lot of the stuff now that we're all just kind of finally getting to, that the two parties...
and they've gotten a lot done over Bernie.
I mean, in their respective lanes, they absolutely
You're
have.
going to respect the Burnster. On this show, you're going to respect the Burnster
15
because he's
years.
earned it,
15
and you're going to
years and
respect the
5 states.
Burnster.
15 years and 5 states. And it still won't be implemented until 2021.
And again,
So it
I
doesn't
say, even if
matter.
those 5 states do have a higher cost of living, at least they can keep their head above water because whether we like it or not, things are still going to always go up. So at least give the average Joe a fighting chance. That's
But
all
what if
I'm
it
saying.
go up 2 more times by 2021 when it's supposed to be implemented?
Well, at least they won't be 5 sheets to the wind sinking.
They
at least
will.
now they might be 1 sheet to the wind.
It's February 2019. The law doesn't go into effect until 2021.
Well, that's everything. I mean, you're what you got to do.
That's what I'm saying.
That's like we talked about
You
the
fighting
labor.
for 15
That's what we talking
years
about.
to
The
get
labor
2 extra
unions.
years?
At least he got something. The labor unions did all this sitting down and stuff. Theirs don't kick in until like I think 2020, 2021 too. Nobody's getting instant gratification, but at least by then, when bread costs $6 a loaf, at least they'll be able to afford half of it.
Man, I'm with
Something's better
I'm
than
with
nothing.
Andrew Yang, man. Give everybody $1,000 a month.
And where we can get that money from?
You
What
know,
mean?
the
Where
taxpayer.
we gonna get it? What
The
you mean?
taxpayer, of course.
What you mean? Where we get all the money for everything else from?
We don't like paying taxes now. You gonna have to increase those just to cover that.
Yep, you drove a pothole today. I drove down my street, drove over a pothole today. I live in a very nice neighborhood. I'm upset.
Well, I'm glad you moved because that last neighborhood you were in with all them potholes that almost tore my wheels off. Yeah,
Well, look,
yeah,
I
they
went from
sucked.
that to living in the city with dirt roads, and now I'm back in the city, and I'm happy.
So,
What's
in
on the
terms
actual
of-
agenda today?
I
What's
was
on the
gonna
agenda
say,
today?
Don't
so what's
talk
on?
about your man.
Double R, as usual, never likes to follow one.
just
So,
saying, we-
what's actually on the
Before
agenda?
we know what it is, that you just start spatting.
Yeah,
before we
exactly.
even
You
get to the
start wanting to
agenda.
go at
Because
it.
you just turned into a Bernie fanatic.
I
real
have
quick.
not. I'm just saying that Bernie is the most viable candidate we have, and the only question is who's going to be his running mate.
With
No,
the-
he's not. This the
So
worst
who's
time
your
to run.
look? If your girl shows up with them kitten heels and pantsuit, I'm going to personally go
No,
to where
she's-
she is
she's
and
smart.
escort her off the stage.
She's
Leave
smart.
Hillary alone.
She's smart, and she's not going to run until 2024. This is stupid.
No, if she's smart, she wouldn't run at all. Just try and be somebody's VP, and let's just call it a day. Actually, she need to go lick her wounds and go ahead and say, Bernie, I think we should run together. I might actually be in favor for
Because
that.
he might die in 2 years. So.
Wouldn't that hurt her? I mean, hurt him?
Oh yeah, 'cause people don't like her. Scratch that. People
No,
don't
it's
like
not
Hillary.
people don't like her.
I think it would hurt him.
People think that he's too socialist and she's directly in the middle. See, she's not a leftist or a rightist, and he's like a uppist. Cause he want
So now we
everything. He
create
want
terms.
everybody to be up. He want free everything,
Want the
and it don't work like
Taxes
that.
to go up is what he'd like.
Everybody wants taxes to go up. Whatever.
So,
But that's your
so
man's.
moving on, there's been a very deadly storm that's taken place in 3 different states, but a majority of which was in Alabama and some of which in Georgia. That the death toll is up to 23. So there's also a story about it vanishing that I think we could cover just a little bit. So there's 2020 news, lots of domestic news, with a new candidate who was announced on the Democratic side, an official confirmation for opponent for Trump. On the Republican side, we can also talk a little bit more about immigration and the developments that have come up there. There's some local news we should get into. The Georgia State Senate has a sexual harassment policy they've just revised that I think is very, very interesting. And we'll just kind of see where things unload from there. Roseanne Barr has made some statements that are probably worth addressing.
Is this the season for irrelevant people to try to be
I
relevant
think this
again?
is the season for everyone to be racist, to get their racist moment, is what I think it is.
that as a comedian, you can say what you want, and because she's white and she like the question is when you hear black comedians talk about white people, why nobody ever call it racist?
That's just the
You
way.
see how
Because
you
a
don't
lot
have
of
an
people, a lot of people believe that black people cannot be racist. Dr. Michael Eric Dyson's always articulated that race is about, racism
Control.
requires power.
Yeah.
Right. It requires a level of political power that he says African Americans do not have. Ergo, we cannot be racist.
Do
It's
y'all
in
believe that?
African American diaspora.
I can get there. Yes.
I don't like having that conversation. We're talking about white racism because it's a deflection. It's a deflection. It's like we can talk about Roseanne being white and racist without having to talk about other people being racist.
This is one of the few times I will actually agree with you. I think that Roseanne, with all the stunts she's pulled, she's proven she's just a crass person, and that's just what it is. And when she was doing the Roseanne show, it was kind of, she'd take jabs, but you know who Roseanne is. But at this point, my only thing with this whole debacle is she's getting ready to do something because, you ran away with your
She got a
tail between your
special
legs. And, well, there you go.
Refers
She got a
to
special
Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez as a Farrakhan-loving, bug-eyed B-word.
Who said that?
Roseanne. So she was in a podcast when she started making some of these statements, and she started going after women that have been in the #MeToo movement. She was a guest on Candace Owens' podcast,
That's
just for
hilarious.
clarity.
You got to watch it. It's funny. Like the problem is like as a comedian, certain things that you say. I think that if anybody else said this, it wouldn't matter. But it's her.
I don't think anybody was bold enough to say it.
I don't think
And
anybody else
that's
would
what
say
I'm
something
saying.
like that.
Yeah, I don't think nobody would be bold enough to say that.
But because she's a comedian, and I think, and she even said it. She said like a lot of the people that she's talking about, she's actually had like she's had interaction with a lot of these people, and she just don't like them.
See, that would be.
And she's cool enough to say that.
That would be more powerful, though. I mean, her saying that one, I know them, and they were trading sexual favors. They weren't victims. That would be more powerful than saying, I know a hoe when I see one, end quote. Are you, end quote. I mean, like, the stuff that she was kind of after is just like, I don't believe that you lost credibility with that, to me.
I mean, she's never had any. So at the end of the day, who really cares about Roseanne? We only kind of care about her temporarily because the show had come with the concept. Well, actually, it was Roseanne still. When Roseanne came back, at the end of the day, who cares? It's Roseanne. She sang the national anthem and stuck her middle finger up afterwards. She's called people monkeys. I mean, at this point, you're a monkey. You go sit down somewhere. Like, who cares? We give too many irrelevant people too many platforms. You lost your show. You're irrelevant again. No one cares. Nobody sees you anymore because they pulled the old episodes of Roseanne. So nobody sees you anymore. So,
but at the time, weren't you very frustrated with that, or weren't you on her side in the idea that you didn't believe she deserved to lose her entire show, and that the cast and the crew and everyone who was affected by the financial loss?
But it wasn't about her. It was about the crew.
About to get canceled.
So you felt sorry for the crew.
I felt sorry for the crew. It had nothing to do with her.
And they're about to get canceled, so it doesn't even matter.
Says who?
Their show isn't doing well.
I mean, it's
ABC and your show's not doing well.
Yeah, I know that, but ABC's not as fast as Slash like CBS and NBC. Now they'll be like, look, we used to 13
If your show
millions.
can't do well on Disney, don't forget Roseanne's show was in syndication on Disney. That's ABC, ABC Family, and Disney Channel. It's not doing well without her.
Yeah, but they anticipate taking some kind of hit. I'll have to look at the numbers.
But she
I
said
just think
she
she's
knows her value.
delusional.
Yeah, but
she
I mean,
says Sandra Bernard, Kathy Griffin, Sarah Gilbert are too ugly to be on TV.
Yeah, same.
Like,
and it's a lot of. And if you
this
watch
has
the
gotta be a
Kathy
joke.
Griffith, watch the Kathy Griffith interview. Her and Roseanne know each other.
Yeah, I'm about to say they've
Yeah,
got to
they
know
don't
each
like
other.
each
Sure.
other. They've
Of
been
course
doing
not.
this for
That's
20
fine.
years. They don't
Oh,
like
Kathy
each
will
other.
be back because Kathy don't take anything.
No,
she got a special coming.
And Kathy,
I
no,
love
I
Kathy
have a whole
Griffin.
new respect for Kathy.
And
I've
she
always
said she
loved
got
Kathy
blackballed
Griffin.
from the industry, so she can't get a TV deal.
And she's
now.
honest
Who?
about it and explicit
Kathy
about
Griffin.
it.
They took her TV show down.
And she
because
lays
she's
out.
very honest.
She
Yeah.
always has been.
Yeah.
Well, I think she got blackballed after she did that painting with Trump's head severed in her hand. I was like, yeah, Kathy, that was a bit much.
Yeah, but she doesn't regret it, and she says she doesn't.
Oh, she
regret
won't.
it.
Kathy does
and
not
even
care.
still, that's not the same thing as racism or sexism or diversion of ugliness. Like, I can't believe the woman I'm looking at and the woman that she's calling ugly.
Yeah, because she mad ugly and she smokes cigarettes and you calling ugly people ugly. Like, all y'all ugly. It don't matter.
Anyway,
But
I
you're
will
a
say-
comedian and to somebody, and you're on Candace Owens' show. Come on, look at who you talking
Candace Owens
to.
podcast.
Yeah,
Look at who you
that's
talking
my
to.
point. Like, but I will say for Kathy Griffin, being blackballed, Kathy Griffin has been blackballed half her career. She had a show called My Life on the D List, which is when I was introduced to her and just absolutely fell in her
Which was
love
a dope
with her.
show.
And yeah, I mean,
Anyway.
you actually saw her try to claw her way out of being on the D List, and she made it so comical and so entertaining that you loved every minute of it.
loved
Like,
it.
she was amazing.
You know who else I love and who I haven't heard from?
20,000 a show.
She what?
That's awesome.
That's what they say her number was, 20,000.
I mean, that's
I'm happy with. What about Kirstie Alley? I would like Kirstie Alley to come out to say something about all this. She's the only other
Kirstie
person from
Alley
this
got in
generation
trouble for
of
something
white
and she
female
disappeared.
comedians.
She had kids.
Do you remember?
No.
On a show.
Something happened, and that's
She
when
had
she
a show.
disappeared. She had a lot of shows.
She had a show.
I would like her to say something.
I don't think this isn't really her thing. I don't
This is the
think.
last. She's the last. She reminds me of them. When I think about Roseanne, when I think about Kathy Griffin, I think about
And they
Kirstie
all
Alley.
know each other. They all came up
Yeah, but I
in that
wouldn't
same
call-
90s sitcom.
I wouldn't call Kirstie Alley a
ABC.
comedian though. She's more of an
What?
actress to me. She's more of an actress to me. I wouldn't call her a comedian.
No, she's just
I
had
always
more
found her
roles
funny.
than
You know what I mean? But when I say comedian, like doing stand up and stuff like that,
She is
Kirstie
a
is
comedian.
more of a actress to me. Like I don't think of her stand ups. I think of her on Cheers, and I forgot what other show was where she was trying to lose weight.
She's on MASH show.
Fat actress.
Yeah,
was a
like
co-
I
which
think
was a
about that kind
comedy.
of stuff. I don't think about her doing stand up. Like when you say Kathy Griffin, I can think of both. She did stand up first, and she did her
I
own
think of
sitcom.
TV.
Yeah,
and
when
Roseanne
you
came up in that era where comedians were getting TV shows.
yeah.
And I think that's the different, like, people that know her stand up aren't upset at some of the things she's saying because they know her stand up. But most of America, the average Joe that aren't necessarily comedian people, they don't know her stand up. So they only know her from, oh, you were on the Roseanne show. That's
Pretty much.
if that's all you know, like, shut up.
Yeah, but at some point there has to be an evolution, even in comedy. Because I think about D.L. Hughley. for the longest, I didn't like D.L. Hughley because when he used to do shows, he would single folks out and pick at them in the audience, and I was like, that is not how you do that.
Yeah,
and finally he evolved.
No, he still
well, he doesn't do as much as he used to. Now he's taking stuff
Wait, what's wrong with that?
a little more
serious.
serious.
You better go to one of his live shows.
No, he used to be brutal. Like it was bad.
Go
like,
to one of his live shows.
He made people
I
cry.
seen him live.
Yeah, people might have been front because they put the camera, so you don't want to be punked in the audience. You just like ha ha ha.
And on
wait
Def
this
Comedy
camera get
Jam,
off.
you could do that.
Yeah,
like
man.
that's where he got his on Def Comedy Jam, on BET. Like you could do that, and don't be the guy talking during my show. Like I'm gonna call you,
would.
and he's not the only one. It's a lot of them that do it, and that's why I said like for people that understand comedians, you can't get upset at some of the things that they say. I'm not upset at Roseanne because she's a comedian. Most of what she says, if you really look at the people she's talking to, it's funny. But because if you say something black, oh my God, she said black. Like nobody care. The
Yeah, but
same
it's
thing
gotta
with
be-
whenever D.L. Hughley talk about white people, it is hilarious. It's hilarious to black people. It's not hilarious to white folks because when you're the butt of the joke, it's never funny to you.
I don't know. White
I've
folks,
got it.
Caucasian folks have a tendency to laugh at themselves.
I was gonna say because I've
more
definitely
than
seen
we
them
will.
laugh.
Not
at
with
Because
racist
we'll
jokes.
laugh and then we'll think about it, like, wait, did you just say?
Yeah.
Did you just say what you? What I just caught that? Are
I've
you
seen
serious?
a lot
but
of that,
see,
especially at Dave
it's-
Chappelle shows. White people laugh at themselves.
Actually,
a
my
lot.
friends find Dave Chappelle more funny than I do. I don't find Dave Chappelle funny.
But
I
it's
never
funny.
have.
It's a
He's
difference
hilarious.
between-
I don't think he's
It's
funny.
a difference between jokes and joning. If me and you joning, what I'm saying to you not making you laugh.
Will you
a
define
little
that
bit
for the
upset.
listeners?
I'm getting ready to say that.
So like joning, or I don't know what they
I thought
call
it was Jonesin. What is it called? Jonin or Jonesin?
The old people call it jonesing.
You know what? That is.
White
What you
people,
not about to do?
white people call it joshing?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So it's basically like you bantering back and forth. I'm talking about you, your hair, your shoes, your auntie.
So it's kind of like that wilding out thing that they be doing. They be jonesing each
Yeah.
other, each team.
I mean, it's mad shows that come from that. But
Roast.
when white people do it to other white people,
they don't really do
some
it like
white
that.
people find it funny. Some white people don't.
Right.
When white people do it to black people, and you usually only see it with white women. White women can't ever talk about black people. Ever. Kathy Griffith can't
Right.
say a lot of things
Right, but
about
like
black.
Gary,
Owens.
what's his name? Yeah, he will.
Well,
I don't
that's 'cause
think
he's
he's
married to
funny.
a black
But
woman.
I don't think
black,
he's funny.
he's married to a black woman.
Yeah, he's
so
married to a black woman.
he gets that pass. But white women you usually don't see as comedians
No.
talking much
No.
or being able to joan black people
No.
like that.
And just
so
the thought
that's
is
why
kinda making me
people-
mad.
And that's why
now that I
And
think about
what?
it, absolutely
and
not.
that's what I'm saying.
Absolutely
But that's
not.
what makes the Roseanne conversation
Why is that,
so
though?
big. Because we're white women.
But a white man can do it?
Yeah, so you got to think about it. White women, the most that we seen as black people from white women is that you were in the house, you had the big dress, everything was for you, and you looked down on my woman. So now you can't say nothing. Most white comedians that talk about black people, they are actually funny. Louis C.K. actually funny. Gary Owens actually funny.
Wait. But that's funny that you have the ideology considering the fact that Caucasian men were the ones that were raping
But
and
now that I think
abusing
about
our
this, but now that I
African-American
think about
women.
this, like if I was thinking about a black joke that a white person would say, like even if it's about like crossing the street or whatever, like if a white dude is afraid of a black man, it's almost a little funny. But if a white woman's afraid of a black man, I'm thinking, man, he's about
It's
to
a
go to
crime.
jail.
So you
So
got
it really does become like
psychologically.
Yeah, because she's gonna call the police. And
Like
so
think about that. Two people
yeah.
crossing the street. White man, black man. White man put his hands in his pocket because he don't want dude to steal his wallet. You think about that, that's a little funny.
Right.
Think about that same scenario. Black dude, white woman. She gonna pull out a phone, grab a purse, clutch it, and maybe walk in the street because she don't want to get robbed or raped.
Right.
See, it's not fun.
It's not funny.
Look at your face.
It's really not funny.
Look at your face.
Really?
It's not
Well,
funny.
my face is reflective
can
of me trying
marinate
to
on
play
this.
some different scenarios. So in my head, I'm like, okay, well,
Any
if
scenario.
we're doing, I'm changing the figure. So if we're saying a black woman with a white man, what is she inclined to do?
Ricardo, if you were in a lineup, imagine you've been arrested. You're in a lineup. You're standing there next to a few other people that may or may not look like you, but they're all black. Could you imagine on the other side of the glass that it's a white man saying it was him or a white woman saying him? Like, who would be
The
more
him
likely?
even sound different. It feels
Right.
different.
Oh my God, y'all some bigots.
different.
Y'all are absolute
No,
bigots.
he's just
No, I'm
revealed
just
something
being
very
honest.
insightful
I'm just being
to me.
honest.
Yeah.
Two people walking down the aisle at Kroger. And this has happened to me before. I've seen it happen to me before. Two people walking down the aisle at Kroger. Black woman, white guy. Think that black woman scared? She can fight.
Whoa.
You see?
No,
that's
go ahead.
Wait, that's a stretch.
You see, that's funny,
Go
right?
ahead.
You see how you
Go
laugh?
ahead.
I'm laughing at you because I
Go
can
ahead.
see the look on your face.
That would be the joke. That's
Right.
funny. Same two people walking down the aisle. Black man, white woman. He going to jail.
Immediately.
He ain't even do nothing.
Immediately.
I'm just trying to get some rice.
Yes. No, but why this is
When
funny?
I say that, it's funny. When a white woman tells that same joke, it is not funny. It's offensive because she said it.
Yeah.
And that's the thing with Roseanne. Roseanne understands, like, as a fat, short white woman that smokes cigarettes.
What does smoking cigarettes
Keep going,
have to
keep
do
going.
with
30
Finish. Let
years
him finish.
ago, 30 years ago, in her crowd, you might have seen black people laugh at those jokes because of where she's from. Now, when you got younger crowds that grow up watching Roseanne and doesn't know her comedy, hear her make those same type of jokes, but a little bit different in the climate that we're in, it is not funny now. It is not funny. Dave Chappelle's comedic styling has been the same for the last 20 years. He's been funny. His white jokes are funny. His black jokes are... The first episode of the Chappelle Show was him being a black dude thinking he was a white dude. That is hilarious. Like, you a black dude who blind thinking that you're white trying to join the KKK. That is too funny.
Uncle Ruckus is one of my favorite characters
That is
of all
too
time.
funny.
He
Like,
is so
even
funny.
the concept that is Uncle Ruckus from Boondocks. Like,
You
I'm
like
not-
him too. Ricardo likes it too. I can tell.
you
You
like
like
it
him too.
I've actually been called Uncle Ruckus. My family calls me that.
Well, that's not funny. They're not joking.
No, they do. It's twofold. They do that because I can actually do the voice, and
Do it.
because
no, don't do it.
no, I'm not doing
Don't do it.
it. And because I have some ideologies and things I say, but
But
you know.
it's just the climate that we're in. 20 years ago, even 10 years ago, when Obama was president, we would just look at Roseanne like, girl, you stupid. Hey, cut that Roseanne show off. Hey, put it on something else. Like, that's all you would say. 10 years ago, she would still have her show.
But that's funny. That's weird though, because I feel like we've become more progressive and more open to people's opinions now than we were 20 years ago. 20 years ago, forget taking your show down. We meet you in the back alley. Like, you just not about to say these kinds of things. That's funny to me that things have turned that way.
During black presidency, things were either funny or a little funny. Now things are either funny or not funny. What she's saying now is not funny to some people.
It's not funny.
I don't think it's funny at all. When you call people names, like,
yeah, that's not
yeah,
funny.
that's you find humor in that?
She's a comedian.
I don't. That's
That
not,
doesn't
that's
mean,
not
that don't
a
mean
pass.
she's
That's
funny.
not a
There's
pass.
a lot
I
of
didn't say it was
comedians that are
funny
not
to me,
funny. Amy
but
Schumer is not
saying-
funny.
Yeah, she's not funny.
Tiffany Haddish is not funny. There's a lot
No.
of unfunny
No,
comedians.
Tiffany
Haddish
and
is
that's
not
why I'm
funny.
saying there are certain comedians, like, when you look at their comedy stylings and then who they appeal to. Who does Roseanne appeal to? She doesn't appeal to us.
I need to meet somebody she appeals to.
She doesn't appeal to us.
I
But-
mean,
and that's the
right
thing.
now.
She's always been honest enough to admit the people that I appeal to don't even appeal to other people. So the crowd that she's talking to, if you saw those people, they wouldn't even appeal to you. So it's not funny to you. Tiffany Haddish, the type of people that she talks about or acts like or it sounds like, or you usually don't want those people around you.
I don't know. I think Tiffany Haddish just had her 20 minutes of fame. I think it might be coming to an abrupt end. After that movie she did, what was that? The one I just
Night School?
No. The one with Whoopi, the one that should have been good. Omari Hardwick, Whoopi, Tyler directed it. I forgot what it's called. It came out like the middle of last year. The movie was so bad. I don't walk out of movies. I walked out of that movie. It was so bad. Like, Tiffany, she don't know when to stop. Like, I get it I get it, but at some point you got to do something
A
different.
lot
Like,
of the criticism for Tiffany is that she's trying to be Kevin, and that don't work for you.
I don't think Kevin has ever gone that extreme to me. Like, I'm in and out with Kevin. I like him, but then sometimes he's just not.
Because she's a woman.
I don't even think it's that. I just think it's just different.
It is that.
I don't think it's,
I don't think it's that.
I
just
think
they're
it's different.
The reason
she's
that
not
I
funny.
think is that is because we've never seen a female black comedian hold that kind of be that high. Like, that high where Tiffany is right now is very similar to the come up of Kevin. It's very similar.
Well, I mean, she looks at him like a brother and like a mentor. So,
But I'm saying, like, her trajectory in the industry is very similar to his. The difference is that she doesn't necessarily have the stand-up, the comedian stand-up that we love from Kevin. She doesn't have that we saw. She said she's been telling jokes for 16 years. That's cool. 20 years, that's cool. But we saw Kevin. We saw Grown Little Man. We saw we saw all those comedy specials. She only has one special on Showtime, and it's all right.
Well, wasn't that?
I mean,
wasn't
I'm not
that
saying
what?
she can't get better. I'm not trying to say like she'll never be funny. I'm just
Well,
saying I don't.
I
find
don't
her
think
But
it's-
I'm saying after 20 years, if you don't even appeal to the people that you're talking to, and they don't find you that funny, you're probably
I mean,
not
look,
that
to me,
funny.
it's the subject matter. To me, it's like in delivery. Like, I just feel like there's people who come off as intelligent, people who don't. Kevin Hart, whatever you could say about him, if you've heard him speak, he's an intelligent human being, and I think his comedy is funny. I think Dave Chappelle's comedy is funny, even though it's racist. Is all I do. I think it's funny.
I don't
Like it's
think
informed.
his
It's funny
comedy
to me.
is racist. I think it's
just very
super well written.
I think it's very racist, in both ways, and I think it's fine but Tiffany, to me, her jokes more so about like just like
And her
wanting,
jokes are
like wanting
specific.
white nuts. Like that's not funny to me. That's just
But she
like,
like
that's
white
not cute
dudes.
to me. Okay, lots of people do. Like that's
the
not
thing,
funny.
Like that Cat Williams was going in on her about. Like
Well, that was his issue.
you can't
like,
tell
she
mad
can't-
jokes. You're as a black woman, tell that many jokes about wanting to suck and do this. And
I mean, I
do
don't even
that
care
to
if it's
white
true. It's
dudes.
just not funny. How's that funny?
Especially to black women. That's not funny.
But he said it though. He was like Tiffany. He said Tiffany can't tell jokes. He was like
she
she can't be a comedian and can't do stand up. And that show she did, I think for New Year's, that bombed religiously.
Yeah.
I think that was kind of. I was like, I think that may be it for you. I think your 20
And she was
minutes may
saying
be up.
like, she was drunk and she wasn't prepared. At the end of the day, if you're funny,
And then
it
you don't have
doesn't
to. I
even
don't think
matter.
most of them prepare. They just do it because it's
Yeah.
who
Well,
they
Or
are.
they're
she
they're
said.
high, but they
That's
do
what
a
she
good- yeah,
said.
they do a
Like
good job anyway.
I got up there and I wasn't prepared. I've seen Cat Williams live. A lot of those jokes, and when you listen to him live, you can tell like he probably wrote down maybe an idea for the joke, but the joke comes out how it comes out.
Yeah.
Well, this is kind of like
Yeah.
what we do here. Like with me, we prep, but once we get on air for those 2 hours, that's just what
Well,
happens.
some people are
Like,
just
it's-
funny. They're just funny in their own environment. Like you put them in a situation, they're just funny.
Like at
I
a
feel
family
like
reunion, you can
some
put
of these
Tiffany at a
people
family
are
reunion.
funny just to stare at.
That's why people
You know
love
what I mean?
Jerry.
like Dave Chappelle can make me laugh just sitting there.
Yeah,
he's just he's
is
funny.
a funny
just
guy.
as a person.
But that's why people love
biggest fan.
Seinfeld. Like Seinfeld took
Same thing with Eddie Murphy. I think Eddie Murphy
Regular
looked
life.
laughable. I just
like
think he looks
regular
laughable.
life and just turn it into a joke. Like that's what made the Seinfeld show so great. When you can
I have
turn
never gotten Seinfeld.
But when
I've
you
tried
can turn
watching it.
show concepts or joke concepts into a TV show, that is hilarious.
Another great example, Archie Bunker, All in the Family. Like
Yeah.
there is such a thing as funny racism, but all racism.
And,
is
they,
How about
and he
this,
did
Archie?
it on the show.
He was fun-
He did it on the show.
I
But
know-
if you watch his stand up,
yeah.
his stand up is
Even
is
older folks,
too
like
funny.
older black folks,
Red
watch
Fox.
that show.
Red Fox was that. Like
Oh, yeah,
Red
Red
Fox
Fox.
Yeah.
was that guy
Yeah.
on stage. I'm racist. Like if there was a clear definition of what like racism look like on stage, and you seen Red Fox show, him, what's the older lady, the old lady that was on this show?
Ooh, Esther?
Yeah,
I don't know.
her.
Really.
Yeah.
If you, she, this is before like
And he was funny.
color TV. Like my dad showed me something one time, because you know my dad still got VHS player, and I'm like, how
I
you
actually
still
saw
have
one of
this?
those yesterday.
How you still have this? But like just watching where we've progressed over time, it turns into this thing that we're starting to see politically. Like everybody trying to make jokes. Bernie, you 77. Stop
Look here,
trying to be funny.
what you're not about to do is keep going back to the Burnster.
Stop
You're
trying
going to
to be
respect
funny.
the Burnster on this show.
Stop trying
But
to be
I'm done
funny.
with you. We're going to take our first break, and when we come back, we're going to have more on this and some other current events on the Leadership Blend with your host, Ricardo D. Rice.
And as I wake up from this crazy dream, I hope that things remain as they seem. Cause as I wake up from this crazy dream, oh, this dream.
Check, I had a dream about you last night, and we were listening to Far Side. Something started spinning in the past, so I kept it singing to the bar side. We were on the last ride, saying it's the past, but the present moving fast. I ain't thinking about the last time. It's fine, but they were saying that you asked my brothers if I'm ready for the last line. Remembering the way you move, it's bugging me out. I kept sweet left feet, don't trouble me now. It gets peak if the D starts loving the sound. But we were running from the beat, start fucking around. Cause if I break the singular jack, cause a little bit of trouble, fill a fifth of the yak. It's not that quick to react. If I finish the pack, we move forward. Now I'm bringing it back.
And as I wake up from this crazy dream, I hope that things remain as they seem. Cause as I wake up from this crazy dream, oh, this dream,
Sheep was saying, don't start, got me feeling at the same time. Look, one part, but we're peeling in the same shine. Say, so dark, got a needle in the brain, it's fine. Lost part, but she's reeling in the blame, it's mine. It's mine.
And as I wake up from this crazy dream, I hope that things remain as they seem. Cause as I wake up from this crazy dream, oh, this dream. And as I wake up from this crazy dream, I hope that things remain as they seem. Cause as I wake up from this crazy dream, oh, this dream.
Way going there. All right. How you doing, Miss Johnson? How you doing, baby? Fat old ass. Huh? Oh my gosh. Why would you say that? I got a son. I want that. I got a son, Charlie. I know you got a son. Listen. I need me a chicken mama, old lady, foxy mama, sophisticated.
All right, everybody, welcome back to Leadership Blend. We're the host for Carl D. Rice and my correspondent,
Simone Cherie.
All right, so
We done with Bernie. Next.
we won't even talk about Bernie.
Senate Democrats will have enough Republican support to terminate Trump's national emergency. So last time we talked about this, we talked about the fact that Trump officially declared national emergency, that people were receiving cease and desist or really move and get out letters so the wall could be built. We talked about a couple of incidents regarding personal property and a butterfly sanctuary that were all in great danger because of the building of this wall.
Which I was waiting over the weekend to see a line of people with butterfly wings holding hands in front of the sanctum. I was
I
actually
couldn't
surprised.
get people together fast enough.
You're fired. I was so underwhelmed.
You'll be
because
so surprised.
I thought, no, I was actually serious. I was so underwhelmed because I figured that once this shot out, that people were going to wear the butterfly costumes and be holding hands in front of the sanctum. I was really underwhelmed. I was so surprised and so hurt.
I doubt they would have been out there, but if you find out how much some of these butterflies are worth.
Yeah, but that's not the point.
I'm
The
saying
point is-
like buying the rights to a butterfly is like owning a husky. Huskies cost $1,500 as puppies. Imagine somebody paying $1,500 for a butterfly.
That's not the point.
Listen, that's I was gonna say
not the
before we
point.
get too
And there's
far.
a butterfly
I know, right? Let's not go left.
sanctuary.
Before we get too far, yes, there
That's
is.
a church for butterflies.
Look, I'm just surprised you. I'm like, wait, what?
No, it's a bunch of them around the country. But I didn't know it was one there. I'm like, it's mad hot there. How you got?
Well, I actually realized this weekend because I'm from the country. So I realized that some things that I'm accustomed to are no longer a thing when I go home because they're actually becoming extinct. So like in my day, you would see grasshoppers everywhere, like especially in the country, in the woods, everywhere. I go home now and I don't hear them. I don't really see them. I'm like, what is really going on?
See trees
That's
or lots
weird.
of grass?
Yes.
Do you think
so
it's Trump?
they should be. Really?
So
Well, I mean, this whole climate change thing and all, these are actually really a real thing. Like, and it affects the ecosystem and insect
are we
life.
really gonna get into that? Do we have the facts to get into?
I'm just saying. Like, I'm just
Climate
saying.
change and wildlife?
I just
When
want to
was
put
the last
that
time,
on
When the
the.
last time you seen a June bug?
I don't know what that is. If I saw it, I probably killed it.
So you ain't never been
If I
driving?
saw it.
So you
and
hate
something
insects.
hit your car, but it splat and it looked like a rock? That's a June bug.
Or glow bugs. I'm not seeing a lot of them either. Glow bugs.
Yeah, I ain't seen light bugs since I was a kid.
Like you just it's things you don't think about until you don't see them. And it's
Small losses.
no, because crickets feed spiders. Spiders spin webs to keep the fly population. It's a whole ecosystem. You're not about to do this to me today.
We just
It's
need
a
to
whole
present
system.
this as an actual.
It's a whole system.
Look,
Like and when little things go away, it's like the ripple effect. When little things go away,
Watch National Geographic's Life.
yes,
And then the second one.
and the circle of
And the
life.
third one.
I would like you both to watch it and come and present it
I
to
did.
to
Speaking
educate
of
all
watching,
of us.
speaking of
on-
watching,
Show it to
I
you.
just
did
could
you
not
watch Lean on Me over the
care
weekend?
less. I did watch Lean on Me to an extent. So I watched the
What?
first.
Wait, what? What does that
to
even
an
mean?
extent?
Man, can we just close this really fast and then go back to that? Because I hate my mind. I'm really trying to work on my focus. So, can I just say really quickly that I'm very proud of Rand Paul in Kentucky and Lisa Murkowski and Susan Collins and Tom Tillis and anybody else who jumps on the bandwagon to not for undermining Trump or the Trump administration, but because I really believe in dissent and in individuality and in libertarian ideals. And Rand Paul is one of very few libertarians in Congress, so I'm happy that he's at least not bending over, as they say, and using his own conscience and voting for his own constituency.
Well,
So
like Mitch McConnell can't protect Trump vetoes anymore, so
Right. So now, and that's a possibility, but the fact that there are Democrats and Republicans that are at least united on some front, I think is
13
is-
Republicans voted with Democrats. I was
Right.
impressed and surprised. I did not expect, because I'm not going to lie, everybody knows how I feel about this whole emergency, pulling money from everywhere to build a wall. I was not down with it. I didn't like it. I didn't like what came with it. So the fact that they all band together to stop this at least shows they can be unified on something that doesn't scare the crap out of most of us. I'm very happy with it. I'm good. My only fear is, again, we're dealing with a demigod and a universe and a multiverse. What is he going to do to counter that? That's my only fear. Like, Trump is so calculated that anytime they make a move, it's literally like watching chess.
He got another move.
Every time, exactly. And he's always prepared for it. I respect and I fear that because, like I said, he's like a demigod in his own multiverse. So, yeah, we did this, but what's up his sleeve?
So I actually wanted it to happen. I'm sorry.
What, they call the emergency? Are you serious?
Because I wanted to see where this money was coming from. It's a list online that shows you all the places.
I
where
had
it
that
was
list
gonna be
at some point, somewhere.
A few of these places I had never heard of. So I'm like, you telling me we pouring $15 million into something? What is this?
I agree. It was like 7 to 8 places that they were pulling from. I was like, I don't even know what this means. Like,
And that's what I'm saying. If you could take $500,000 from a place that we never heard of,
That's
how
fine.
much money are you actually putting into it?
What
You know what I'm saying? Like, how much money is already there? If you could take if you could take $15 million from some conservation,
It's a $2.3 billion budget, and you divide that up across all the agencies. There's reserves and reserves and reserves.
Well, my issue is once again,
there's
and
definitely
I will
fat
give
that can
you,
be cut. Definitely.
And that's
I
what I'm
will
saying
give you
when
props
ask
for that.
those questions, because those are questions that he was asking. Like, what are we doing? Why does the military building fund for America have $1 billion in it? What are you building?
I mean, I agree, and you said this before, and I will agree that he's uncovering stuff that's just been kind of sitting there, collecting dust that needs the light shine on. And this was one of those things. Like you said, there were a lot of those offices. I didn't know what they did, and how do you have this much money? Why do you have this much money? And what are you supposed to do with it?
I don't know how y'all got that much money and not that many employees.
I was gonna say, first thing we could do is cut the expense budgets, cut the $30,000 furniture budgets for everyone who's in Congress, etc. Why can't they just reuse the furniture the person before them had? Why they act like they gotta have new furniture?
I mean,
you're here to
that's-
have a job.
that
You don't get to have a
chamber is
new
so
office.
dull and drab. I don't want
so
to have
what?
some nice
But they
furniture.
can't
It's a
the
temporary
chamber-
office.
And
Yeah, but
it's
you're
not
like
your,
2 or 3 years. Like,
but it's
Oh,
not
oh
your
wow!
office.
Oh my gosh! So you have to sit in somebody else's couch. You know there are people who can't drink water when they want. Like please, $30,000 a pop, and there's 535 people in Congress.
I commend them because I couldn't just
Where's
sit in
my
those
calculator?
chambers every day and I couldn't do it. Like, that would be, I feel like I'm in a fort. I would be insane.
You know what the thing is, Ricardo? You give a lot of credit to people's cushy jobs and lives. Because this is what you said with teachers, and now this is what you're saying.
Wait
with
a
our
minute.
elected
What you're not
officials.
about to do is
You
Trump
really believe
is
everybody is
lump
in the
teachers
trenches.
And so you don't.
They're
you really
out 6 months of the
I done
year
told
or
you,
more.
Next week, we going to a
that
5-year-old daycare. You're going to be there all day. And then you're going to realize that teachers and daycare workers are doing God's work.
So the number is $18,725,000.
Thank you.
What?
That's
Just in
how much
furniture
the budget
expenses.
is
For furniture.
for furniture.
That's collective. That's not like each individual
No,
gets that kind of
No,
money.
that is
$30,000
$30,000
That's their
per
furniture
member
and
of
decor
Commerce.
budget.
Is that taken out of their
Decor.
salary?
No.
It's on top of. And that doesn't include their office supplies, brain supplies, all the staff they want to hire. I don't want to hear.
Okay, well, that is a bit. Okay, we'll find that is a bit excessive.
Food budget. I didn't.
Yes,
I
it's a
didn't
bit
know.
excessive.
Members, I didn't know members of Congress had a food budget.
Most jobs give you a food budget. That's not
your
uncommon.
job gives you a food budget?
I mean, I eat for free, so it's the same thing.
Ricardo.
Most
That's
jobs
cushy.
get.
That's
all right,
cushy.
y'all stretching on that one now.
That's
Most
If I'm
jobs
cushy.
paying you
So I don't have
a food budget.
$300,000 a year.
Okay, so I'm getting ready to throw a company
Joseph,
under
do
the
you have a food
bus.
budget? I don't have a food budget.
So I'm getting ready to throw a company under the bus.
Hold on, wait.
There's
Teachers
the
don't have a
companies.
food budget.
Really?
They don't. They also don't have a supply budget.
Do you feel
Construction
like they should?
If Congress,
Do you
if
feel,
Congress,
no. Do you
Nurses?
feel like they should?
Yeah.
Okay, then thank you.
Don't
Fine.
you wanna know why?
One for the
Plumbers.
little man.
No,
One for the little man.
I feel like if Congress get a food budget,
I don't know why y'all acting like that's so
Dentists?
far-fetched. There are plenty of jobs that get in
Dog
food expense
walkers?
budget. That is not uncommon. There are people that work for Home
Veterinarians?
Depot at a certain level have a
Congress-
food budget.
Congress-
No, they don't.
Yes, they
a
do.
food budget?
Yes, that they can eat every day because they can't leave the office and stuff like that.
No.
I'm not talking about you.
You get a
eating
budget
the
for meals
restaurant
for
in
travel.
your
No, some of them-
building.
That's not a food
Budget.
budget.
No.
Some get food budget.
I'm
Unless you work
talking
at
about.
Facebook or
I'm
Google,
talking
you don't have a
about.
food budget.
You have an expense card, like an American Express.
Yes.
Black card, because you make $300,000 a year. It's probably gonna be black or gold, at least platinum.
I know I like those cards. They're very heavy.
If you get one of those cards for food, this is not including the $30,000 we gave you for furniture, and what you do with the rest of that money if you don't spend the $30.
Look,
I'm talking about money
I
that
like to
you
eat.
get to. These
From
folks
me.
are $1,500 bottle of wine. Why?
They won't celebrate. I don't know. I like
They
to
have
eat,
it right
so
at
I'm
the
not.
city of
I like to eat.
Atlanta. They have crazy. I go to the city of Atlanta website. Mayor Keisha Lansbottoms has produced an open expense report for the city of Atlanta. Go to the city of Atlanta website. You can look up the open expense report budget and see what people are buying. See what your city councilmen are buying, what their staff are buying. I keep track of a lot of these people that go to Jimmy John's every day. A lot of these people
That's
go
not
to.
expensive.
It is when you're spending $13 a day and it's just lunch.
And it's the expense
sorry.
budget.
Are we really doing this
They'll
about
go to
food?
Office Depot and have just supplies, general supplies, $400.
That could
What
be
supplies?
that could be one of these
What
chairs.
supplies?
This could be one of these
Oh,
chairs.
so you buying fancy cushy chairs at the city council?
Oh my God, you're so frugal.
A place that you might only go to once or twice a week.
You are frugal. You are frugal.
Unbelievable.
I would. It's like the chairs are here.
$400?
It's no different than the chairs are here.
On the taxpayer's
There's
dime?
one certain chair I have to have when I come in the studio. This chair is not cheap. It makes me feel good. I'm sitting in the chair
Yes,
for
it
2
is.
hours.
Yes,
There's
that chair
nothing
is
wrong
cheap.
with that.
Goodwill
Actually,
has
that
chairs
chair
for
is cheap.
Actually, I'm gonna
$15.
keep going with that because that's a very good example and depiction. These people sit in the chambers for hours on end. So if I want to buy a
They sit on their
$500
butt for hours.
if I want to send a $500 chair that makes my back feel good and makes my butt feel good because I'm sitting here for 10 hours on end, what is wrong with that?
Buy it with your own money.
Right, your own money. Your
It's
own
your
taxpayer
chair.
I'm
funded
sorry.
money.
That's one of those things that I feel I'm not upset about that. I'm not upset about that.
But you do know that every time they go to this chamber, they don't sit in a different seat. This is not class.
They're lost. In my point, they're sitting in the same
So you
seat for
explain this to
hours
me.
on
Spend
end.
your own money.
Why couldn't it have
Why?
been done once, Ricardo?
Huh?
Why couldn't it have been done once? What if the person behind you, or behind them, or maybe back in 1822 when the first person had this ridiculous budget?
Maybe they didn't have hemorrhoids, and they need a special chair to sit in there for 5 hours.
So now you
Buy
have
your
an
own
allowance.
chair.
Now you have a need
Okay,
that's costing
look,
the
let me put this
taxpayer.
in. Let me put this in
Hold on,
another
wait,
view.
wait,
Then
hold on. Let me just tell you, that money comes from you.
everything comes from us.
The $30,000 that they get. To
Yes,
Everything
on
comes
top
from
of
us.
the
Hold on. Do you have $30,000 worth of
Again,
furniture in your house?
That I don't, but I also don't want to sit in a chamber
you have
for 5 hours
$30,000?
while they read a 100-page document on the floor. No.
They don't even read the bills half the dang time, which they
Look,
admitted.
They got a bunch of
What
interns
they
that work
do.
for free
Yes,
that read
for-
that
yes,
read
yes.
those bills.
Those interns are trying to get into those places anyway, so it didn't work for free. I have free interns. What are you saying?
Well, a lot
But
of
you-
people-
What are you saying
A lot
to me
of
right
people
now?
think
What are you
that's
saying to me
wrong.
right
You
A lot
now?
of
have a
people think that's
$30,000 furniture budget. Look at these chairs.
Okay, well look. All right, so
Look at these chairs. If I move too hard, I'm going to lean back and be on the floor.
you do that in your car anyway. So what's your
That's
point?
my car. That's
Listen,
my
stop
car.
It, stop it, stop
Okay,
it,
fine,
stop it, stop
fine.
it.
So here's the impasse. It may be a bit excessive, but it shouldn't be.
$18 million?
It shouldn't be. It shouldn't be. Okay, so it shouldn't be like rollover money.
This is
if they don't
$18
use it,
million
then they should take it
a
back.
year.
We are all forgetting
A
that this is something
year.
important.
Y'all don't want to give them nothing though.
No, that's not true. We
I don't
want
want to give you $18 million a year.
There's
You're
public
right.
service. Public service, right?
It's called public.
is coming from the taxpayers' dime.
Everything comes from the taxpayers'
So
dime.
it matters. It matters. Do you know how much more money we would have? How much more?
But
work
if
we
I'm
could have?
giving you, look,
you would
Ricardo,
need your $15 an hour if you could keep all your tax money.
Ricardo,
I knew one of y'all was gonna go
Ricardo,
there.
you work in Congress, right? I'm paying you $300,000 a year. Why do you need a 10% budget for furniture in an office that you will only be
Okay,
in?
have either one of y'all seen
hold
where
on,
they
and
sit
you,
in?
And you do know they throw that furniture away when you leave? They throw it away. They throw away $30,000 worth of furniture. I'm about to go to the White House and find a dumpster and get furniture for my house.
Furniture Metro Bank of Atlanta.
Okay, fine. Let me paint this a different way then. When that money goes into the economy system, because they got to buy that furniture from somewhere, people have jobs.
This man talk about the economy.
I'm just saying, don't people have to have jobs? If we buy furniture that often, we have that much money. That money's going back into the economy because you're buying that furniture from somewhere. Somebody's bank. It's just like income tax. Somebody's banking on that money, saying, "Well, you know, Congress is going to buy about $10,000 worth of furniture. That means I can create more jobs." So it's not like that money's not going
You
anywhere.
don't think it's a
only-
little
let me
warehouse
just
under the
allow-
White
let
House
me
that
just-
make they furniture?
I doubt
No,
that,
let me just
no.
allow you to understand the deviousness and the dangerousness of that argument, because that's the same argument that says if I can get a job out of this, I can justify this. So if I can put a whole bunch of black men behind bars, we need prison guards, we need personnel, we need somebody to be responsible for the facilities. So I'm creating all kinds of jobs by locking up black men for dang near no reason.
Okay, well,
that's
everything.
a very dangerous logic.
But that's always a fine line. Always, everybody's gonna try to justify whatever they do. That's gonna happen. That argument you just made is made all the time anyway. I'm just
It's
saying
an F
at
argument.
this point.
It's an F argument.
But again, if we put some safeguards on it, it might not be so terrible. If we say, hey, you have to take bids on this furniture, which I'm pretty sure they probably do. You have to take bids on this furniture and
No,
X,
they
Y,
don't.
Z, blah, blah, blah.
This is
And
her
if they
budget.
don't, then fine. Then we do that. But I'm just saying, I still believe, I'm not saying it's not excessive. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, I'm not going to say, well, just throw the whole thing away.
So how much do you think? I think
I'm not going to say just throw the whole thing away.
they shouldn't have an $18 million budget a year.
I'd have to do research on the side of that because, again, where are we getting this furniture from? Because if it's not income tax for that actual company where they actually go, hey, you know, Congress buys from us $10,000 worth of furniture. Hey, we can give y'all some bonuses.
We're going to give a little bit of history just so we keep this educational. We're going to talk about some great perks that Congress has that you don't. So again, this is a little bit old. So some of this you can assume is going to be accounted for inflation as of 2019. But back in 2014, when this report was announced, base salary of $174,000, which will put you in the top 15% of income earners. Free parking at any airport in the country, which right now goes for about $22 a day. So
Look at your
do
face.
the math.
Look at
They have to
Free-
fly every day. So, I mean,
When
I'm
was the
sure
la-
every,
Free
Oh,
gym.
they
No,
don't have to
I
fly
thought they were
every
sitting
day.
down every day, 8 hours in the chamber.
they do, but they have to fly sometimes too.
Weekend insider trading restrictions, which means, for example, if you needed to buy some piece of stock, they basically assume that Congress probably would not know. It's called the Congressional Knowledge Act, whether or not there was publicly traded information. So basically, if you could be arrested for insider trading for whatever reason, if you knew something about a stock,
Yeah.
Congress could probably not be arrested for that same amount of information. There's a
Well, that's
a
that
threshold.
government immunity thing. right? They're gonna fall
239
under.
days off. Keep in mind, there are 365 days in a year. There are 239 days off on the 2012 congressional calendar, about 126 sessions overall, ergo 239 days to work or not outside of Congress. Congress receives health care subsidies that are better than Obamacare, aka outside of Obamacare, worth
So
about
does-
$92,000
so does
a
the
year.
upper echelon
A
of
retirement plan.
Government.
The average Social Security recipient will get $15,000 a year in benefits. The average public worker will get $26,000. The average congressman, $59,000 per year. 4 times as much
I
as
don't
anybody
wanna
else.
do-
Who's getting
Would
Social
you wanna
Security?
work in Congress?
Which we are not getting Social Security.
Would you want to work in Congress and do what they do?
what
exactly.
do they do?
What
Sit,
do
they
do?
They
read
sit down
boring
all day?
documents. They have to go
No, they
back
don't.
and
Want some
forth about
construction
stuff.
workers outside who can come in and laugh at the idea of sitting down all day. But there's more. Members of Congress fly for free. They have death benefits, at least 1 year's salary. They also get a $1 to $2 million allowance, which is for staff. Just for staff.
Okay, well, like them same free interns you're talking about, at least they can get them a nice dinner, a nice meal. Come on.
A $2 million.
$1 to $2 million, depending on if it's Congress or, House or Senate.
What you need? How many employees you got?
I don't know. You tell me.
They don't
how
have a
many
limit
employees they
either. They can hire no one.
They can hire as
They can
many-
hire no one.
I can
Okay,
hire no
and
one
keep-
and
That's
still
fine.
get that budget.
That's fine, but then the question becomes, how many people are actually blowing this money?
Oh, we track it.
Oh,
Well,
you-
fine. Now I want to know
Take
how
yourself
many
to-
people just because they have it does not mean people are actually
Take
out there
yourself to
just
open-
balling out of control.
Go to Open
Our
Secrets.
president might go to jail for this.
Well, your president already had that problem.
No,
when he got in
I
office.
said their president. Our president. I'm in America. This guy, bro, with
he
the
had
urge.
he had that problem before he got in office. So what does that
Trump
really
2020.
mean?
Just go to nationalpriorities.org. You can look
I'm
at
just saying,
federal spending.
just because these people have access to this money does not mean people are out here. Y'all act like they're out here balling out of control. Everybody's not actually.
Well,
They are.
have you
Most of them
seen
probably
how
are.
they
They are.
sit in first class? They always have a nice glass.
Most of us like to sit in first class if we could. What are you saying?
Listen to what you just said. If we
Yeah,
could.
seriously.
Well,
if we could. It's too
okay,
bad that their lavish
okay,
lifestyles
fine.
are funded on our backsides.
Fine.
We can't afford to do
All
that.
of us probably could sit and run for Congress or whatever the case may be. I'm sure all of us could. I don't want to. So if we just ran down this list and running down that list, we both could have said, "Oh my God, I'm going to apply for Congress tomorrow." Did we say that? Okay then.
Oh, you don't know?
No, those are amazing benefits.
Hey,
Seriously.
Those benefits
But
are
are-
amazing. I'm just saying.
but do you want to go run
Flying
for
for
Congress
free,
now?
flying for free.
And you knowing all this that y'all fussing and griping about right
Hold
now,
on, and you get
knowing-
200 days off.
knowing all of this, do you want to run for Congress?
Maybe.
No,
Yeah.
because you know what they
Maybe.
do.
Yeah.
Now
Yes, I do.
Simone probably
Yeah.
does because she likes
Yeah.
politics. I
no,
personally
but
don't
he
want
would
to.
probably win.
No,
because I like politics.
I would win. I would be good.
Here's the
That's
reality.
not the question. The question is running
'Cause-
down
'cause
that
I'm gonna
The
make it
list.
question,
black.
no, that's not the question. The question is it right? Is it right?
Is it right for you?
I don't
to
think
get
that's
that much
fair.
money?
I think if we go down the
Is
list
it
and we
right?
say out of 200 senators and people that sit in Congress, I'm just throwing out numbers. If we find out 150 of them are balling out of control on this, then fine. But you're not going to find that. Most of them may have access to it, but I highly doubt if a good 50% of them are using
Oh,
it.
you
I
naive,
doubt it.
hopeful,
I feel
hopeful
bad for
voter.
you. So
I'm
hold
just
on,
saying.
Let me ask you this, because that is a public service job. Though it is in government, it's still public service. Your job is to service the public. Teachers work in public service.
Don't try
Do
to
you
lump them
think that
together.
Congress-
Teachers do not have that list of stuff that she just rambled down.
Do
Why we
so,
comparing?
so do you think that
So why
members
do you
of
compare
Congress
them?
work harder than teachers?
Yeah, I think they do.
Man,
That's a lot. Like
I
all
feel-
that.
I feel bad for
I
you.
was a pre-law undergrad. All that stuff they do.
So you would have
When
been
I
the
sat
dude
through my
working for the
capstone-
dude in the seat. He wouldn't have been doing no work.
When I sat in my capstone class and had to go over just a fraction of what they go through on a day-to-day basis, I was disgusted. That's what almost made me change my major.
Here's why I'm
that's-
disgusted.
That's
Ricardo.
why House of Cards is so lit. We saw him sit in his office and just tell the guy, "Yo,
No, did you not watch all 60s? Because I did. You saw Francis
Stop
have
it.
to finagle and
Ricardo,
moving.
think about
He-
this.
and
no,
going
he
You think
just
through.
wanted to
everybody
get
else
his
should pay
hands
more,
dirty.
right? Like, explain this. You think everybody else should pay more. You think all these other rich people should pay more if they're ahead of Amazon. Oh, he don't do enough. His $2 billion charity. Oh, that's BS. He don't do enough. Zuckerberg don't do enough.
Wait a minute, wait a
none
minute,
of them do
wait
enough.
a minute,
But congressmen,
wait a
they
minute.
work so hard. Are you
I
kidding me?
didn't-
They can't even get a bill passed. They have to shut down every other week. They're so incompetent.
Okay, but it's not them by themselves.
Elon Musk is building underground tunnels, and he's
Oh
not
my God!
giving enough.
Here we go back to it. It all comes back to the rich people that Simone always siding with.
Your
no,
congressman
Simone,
is a
I
rich
would
person.
never say.
John Lewis is a rich person. Right downtown, John Lewis, Mr. I can't be unelected because I marched with MLK. Even though
Wow,
I
that was a
am
lot of shade you
absent
threw
when
at
was the
John
last
Lewis.
time he
Time.
passed a bill? When was the last time he
When's the last time he
introduced a
wrote
bill
a
that
bill?
passed?
Why
He
y'all asking me?
co-signs
I'm
on
not the advocate for him. Why y'all asking
you're
about
a
him?
Democrat, and
Wow.
you, and you support.
So are you?
No, I'm not.
Are you a Republican now?
No,
Well, we only
no.
well, we only have a two-party system. So where you fall, player?
I'm in the middle.
So what are you, libertarian? What you saying right now?
The politics.
So you that
have-
undecided vote that this
No,
swipe
the
side to
politics
side.
have to make sense. It's not because I
And
can
this
vote
doesn't make
for
sense.
whoever makes sense. If a Republican makes sense, I'm a vote that way. If a Democrat makes sense, I'm a vote that way.
That's foolishness.
But it's foolishness to be a Democrat and only vote Democrat, even though it makes no sense for you. It makes no sense for you.
I think it would be worth it when we have some time to go through some of these expenses and see what these people are spending on supplies.
That's fine. When you can paint a better
printing,
picture
rent.
to me. I'm not saying that a lot of this stuff is not excessive.
See,
that's
that's why
not
you
what
like
I'm
Bernie.
saying. But
That's
I'm
why you
also
like
not
Bernie.
saying.
That's why
that-
you like
Yeah,
Bernie.
'cause you just wanna
'Cause
spend
Bernie,
it,
Bernie
spend
wear
it,
real
spend
big
it.
suits.
Oh my God.
He wear real big suits. Like he bought a
And he
suit right
doesn't
out of
act like
man's
a
warehouse and
millionaire.
he'll never let him tape it up.
Right.
Look at
just
his
so it
jackets.
looks like it was
He look like
inexpensive.
he look
Says
like-
the man who supports a woman with kitten heels and pantsuits. Are you
because
kidding
she's
me?
67. And
Well,
why-
Bernie's 70 something. What are you saying to me
Bernie
right
is
now?
He's
94.
a multi-millionaire.
There you go. He don't care about the way he looks, but he looks nice.
No,
Hillary
no.
should have cared a little bit more. She's younger.
Pimping
Why are you
people.
And
mad?
she's a woman.
And those are Ferragamo
And
pantsuits.
Oh, please.
And?
I have to see the label.
Those are
I have to see.
those are
No, they
Prada
are not.
pantsuits. She had on
Those
the same.
are Kate
Look,
Spade
she-
pantsuits.
She had on the same. Kate Spade isn't cheap.
I know. I'm
They're
just
like
saying.
$12,000
But she
And
ain't
look,
look.
jackets.
and she had on the same pantsuits that what's the girl Sarah wore in what's Sex in the City? Those same pantsuits.
Oh, please. They might have had the same color.
Nope.
But those are hardly the same pantsuits.
Same pantsuit. Her heels just was a
just
little bit
saying.
lower.
A little bit, a lot lower. They
little
were
bit
kitten
lower.
heels. You can't even clip them things and get back to Oz. Just saying
Sorry,
it.
Hillary.
Again,
But he a
in
fan
the
of Bernie,
end,
so we should expect it.
in the end, I'm not saying this stuff is not excessive. I'm just saying.
I just need you to go a little bit further and admit that it is ludicrous. That it is rape.
Ludicrous is-
It is rape of our wallets.
Okay, well, let me ask you a better question. If we take that money from them, we're not going to put it in the right place. We're not going to eradicate homelessness. We're not going to try to change the water in Flint. So what are we really going to do
What
with
if
it?
you
Why
got
don't
to
we?
keep some of
Why
that
don't
money?
we?
Well,
Why
that's
don't
the better question.
No, the better question is why you don't get to keep some of that money. If you think about it, they getting 18 million.
Well, actually, we were trying to keep some of it, but y'all don't want to raise the minimum wage.
What would minimum wage do?
At least we'll put some more money in our pocket.
Would
So let me ask you a question. If we take the money from there, where we going to put it?
In your pocket?
How?
What you mean how?
Well, exactly what I asked. How?
Think
Why
about
don't
this.
you take your little
If you make
$1,000 that you
if
want so bad?
if you make $8,
Y'all not about to put me on everything
So
that
look.
people say. I didn't say nothing about that.
so you know that every year you expend about 15 to 20% of your checks yearly. So whatever your annual income is, about 20% of that goes to Medicare and Social Security and that other thing that nobody knows exactly who or
Is
what
that
it
fair?
is.
Because I don't know who.
and that
I
other
don't know who
thing.
FICA is.
Federal income.
Yeah,
I'm just saying, but I
so
don't-
it's 4 things, and it's split in between that.
Mm.
You give at least 20% to all of those at the end of the year. What if you only gave 10%?
What you gonna do with 10 you take? How you can give it? How you still not telling me how you
If you
give it back
make
to me?
$8
Are
an
you gonna
hour,
increase the income
that's
tax
a
or
lot
something?
of money.
How much?
If you make $8 an hour, so do 8 times. I'll just say you work 30 hours a week.
Mm-hmm.
So we just gonna go ahead and do this math because you know
Let's
how
do
he
it.
feels.
It's
Let's do
worth
this
it.
math. So you make $8 an hour,
Show me
30 hours a week. That's $240 a week. That's not a lot of money.
at all.
Now I mean, yeah, $240
That's not a lot of
a week.
money, no.
Yeah, but I mean, hey,
No, what you saying to me?
That's
What
the
you
job that you wanted. Every 2 weeks you make $480. Now, if you do 480 times how much your taxes you gonna lose, which is a lot.
That's not a number. That's not a number. You want to do math? Give me some real numbers. That's not a number.
$96 out of your check every 2 weeks at 480. Now I'm just saying.
Mm-hmm.
What if it was only $72 out of your check?
What's
You
that?
could flip that 20 and flip it.
No, I'm
flip
just
it.
saying. I'm
I
just
was gonna
saying.
say, say,
Now
what am I gonna do that $20?
480
Most of that times 12. You ain't getting no big number.
minus
Here's what I will say.
$72. That's $400 every. Now no. I'm just talking about for your minimum wage people.
Right.
Now $380 a year. I mean, every 2 weeks, and you do that times 12, cause that how you feel. So $384 times 12. That's not a lot. I mean that ain't even a lot. Like, hold on, no, I did that wrong. 384.
Your math is
times
never
People,
gonna add up.
people before.
Your math is never gonna add up.
Oh, wait.
So look, this how much.
Your math is never
So
gonna add up.
look,
to a
that's
significant number.
$768 a month
What?
at average minimum wage after taxes. $768 a month. That's not a lot of money.
That's not even my
that's
rent.
under $10,000 a year. That's
That's not even my rent.
$9,216.
Please, people, please just go to nationalpriorities.org because there's 2 things you really should look at. You should look at people who have these huge budgets, these $2 million budgets, and have no staff. A, because they're probably pocketing that money. B, you should look at people who
That's
have
an
so much.
assumption.
B, people have so much staff that you really wonder what they're doing. Maxine Waters, Rep. Maxine Waters from California.
All right, wait a minute.
Really quick
Hold
before we
on
break.
till you get Auntie
Really quick before we
Maxine.
break. It's really quick.
Why you had to pick Auntie
Has
Maxine?
36 staff members for every issue under the sun. There's 2 for military, 2 for children, 2 for health, 2 for financial, 2 for foreign, 2 for
great.
animal, 2 for agriculture,
That's
2 for
great.
budget and arts. So if you got 2 staff people who are drafting all the policy for all these different areas, then what are you, the mascot, the figurehead? Why do you have 30 staff
What,
to
you the
cover?
coach?
Do you have any expertise in any of these issues?
You the
It's
coach.
it's no
30
different
staff?
than me having 10 interns that set up everything and I just show up and be the talent. They get to learn, they get to grow, they get to be the next generation. I'm not about to do this with you.
Drake
we
has
gonna
10
take a break.
staff.
We're gonna take a break, and when we come back, we getting rid of double R. So
All
y'all
I'm
stick
telling
around the
you.
leadership bin with your host Ricardo D. Rice.
$9,000. That's how much.
No more time.
It's part of my past. Better give it up now somehow. But I'll never, never, never stop thinking of you. I better give it up now somehow. But I'll never, never, never stop thinking of you. Never, never in the right place. For us to stand by each other, you'll have to replace. But first be goodbye and find another. My heart was like a stone when we stopped in pain. I felt like a clone, cold blood in my veins. Forgive my silence, this absence of time, the crime of distance, deception was crime. I keep a secret, a great adventure, the kind of regret could it have been future. Now going ahead, my hands play a touch. I'm taking this new gate. You bring me so much. Better give it up now somehow. But I'll never, never, never stop thinking of you. I better give it up now somehow. But I'll never, never, never stop thinking of you. Better give it up now somehow. But I'll never, never, never stop thinking of you. I better give it up now somehow. But I'll never, never, never stop thinking of you.
Man, let me tell you something right here. I saw me a pretty young gal. Girl was looking like, yeah. She was looking like, nah. You know what I'm saying? But the girl talked too much. I told her it could be all real simple. It's a real simple process, this love thing. This is what I tell her right here. I said, you feeling me and I'm feeling you. What we gonna do? Shut up and group. Shut up.
All right, everybody, we are back on this Monday edition of the Leadership Blend with your host, Ricardo Rice, and my correspondent,
Simone Cherie.
All right, so Double R had to leave, so it's back to me and Simone, which I get a lot more headway when it's just her. Because them two together, it's like talking to Heckle and Jekyll. I don't get it. I don't understand it. It's creepy because they didn't even start at the same time, so it's just creepy.
Sometimes we're on opposite sides of stuff.
It is not very
And when
often.
he's wrong, he's wrong. It's just wrong. You know what I mean? But
I told him I'm going to hire a fourth correspondent that'll be on my side. So, I won't have to battle these two numbnuts every Monday and Friday. But it's fine.
It's
all right,
really
so
y'all do.
It's fine. It's fine. That's all right.
So you mentioned the Ted Baker CEO. I guess kind of along those same lines. So in Georgia, in the state Senate, there was a lot of controversy earlier this year, when the Senate was trying to revise the sexual harassment policy in the state Georgia Senate. So basically, they tried to create a window in which people could file complaints, and that really angered people, angered a lot of Democrats in the chamber. And they basically were like, no, we need to throw out these rules. This was at the height of the Me Too movement, really, that it started. And the fact that it almost made it through the House, I guess the Democrats just said absolutely not. So even on a state level, we kind of have a picture that looks more and more like the federal level, because it sounds like something that would happen federally or in Washington. And that's a new trend now, I think, that in every state is starting to see more and more like Washington in this way. So basically, there were guidelines that were going on that if a person believed they'd been harassed by a senator or a Senate staffer, that they had to bring their allegations between 4 years. And so the rules that they tried to pass narrowed the window to 2 years. And that's what the Democrats are basically stomping out and trying to fight off, because they don't believe there should be any cutoff. So that's what they're working to do. I don't know why. I mean, 4 years sounds 4 years into a year sounds suspicious, right? Because that implies someone's term. So basically the idea would be that if you did something during your term and but you couldn't complain about it once that person was gone, like back doing whatever they were doing. Or if they were reelected, you wouldn't be able to complain.
Do you think that's fair?
It's very like coincidental that it's like 2 years or 4 years. No, I don't think it's fair. One of the Democrats, Renee Unterman, basically said that it would discourage people from coming forward, which I do believe that it will. And it's actually, the complaints go far above and beyond just like overt sexual harassment. It's even like just complaints about conduct. So it could be, I don't know, it could be racial comments. It could be, you know, any sort of complaint or comment about behavior or ethics basically would have been limited.
I don't know. I just feel like we keep getting caught in this. You darned if you do and darned if you don't. Like, I feel like that's where we're headed at this point. It's like you just can't win. Like, at one time, you know, people kind of took a seat back and was like, you raised your voice, but you didn't expect to get exactly what you raised your voice about, because that's just not the nature of negotiations.
Right.
And you kind of took what you got and made sure it was at least 50% of what you were asking for. And you knew you probably wasn't getting the other 50, but you were okay with that because you lived to fight another day. Now I feel like people want all or nothing. So it's like, you give us exactly what we're asking for, or we're not taking nothing. And that's just not the nature of negotiations. It's like,
I mean, my thing is more so that I think it's a weird rule to have in general, because even in a workplace, I feel like conduct is conduct. So if something's unacceptable outside of work, why should it be acceptable in work? Like, if you sexually harass me on the street, and that would be in the Georgia Criminal Code, I wouldn't have whatever that time limit is. Why would it be different for Congress? I don't like people in office getting special privileges. We just laid out for about 20 minutes.
Your ideology
I don't
is so
believe
funny.
anyone should get special privilege for work. I don't care if you're, and it really goes for, it can cut any which way. If you're an officer, I don't believe you're any more entitled to go off than if you're not, just because it's stressful. I mean, it's stressful. Get over it. It's stressful. Same thing with Congress. I believe if you're in Congress, that doesn't mean you can harass people. You can't just sexually harass people and have a 2-year time limit. If it would happen to you or I, and they could come back in our 60s and 70s and say, hey, Ricardo made me uncomfortable back in 2020. I mean, it should just be
but isn't that the
applied.
issue? Well, wasn't that the issue with the Kavanaugh thing? It was like, okay, ma'am, you can barely remember the details. And this was like 30, 40 years ago.
Yeah, it also makes an investigation very hard to pursue, because how am I supposed to start in a party with no location 40 years later? Same idea. So, but that said, when you're in Senate and you're passing a bill to protect you, it's just like I'm passing a bill that basically says if I feel somebody up, they got to hurry up and like, how do you feel conscionable about that? It's just like the election situation with Abrams and Kemp, that it was like he was running for office, but he had done so much to restrict votes for people, like, you're going to fall off the rolls if you don't vote within a year. It's like, it clearly has something to do with you. So why would you pass a bill about you?
Well,
you know what I mean?
And I think that was the question everybody was asked, is like, well, even on top of that, how are you able to pass the bill while you're in office in that particular position? Like, how is that legal?
In the exact convenient position to do something about this, right?
But I tell people all the time, and anybody that's on the same page with Trump, they're that calculated. Like, he didn't start setting this up today. Kemp had been setting that up for years, that when he got to this particular place at this particular time, this would be in place for him to execute his master plan. You don't set that kind of plan in motion in one day or even in a year. You've been setting that up for years, and nobody. It's like when it's a Medea play, and she tells a story about when women cheat, and they take a piece, they build a nest with the man. And then they take a piece of that nest and fly away and start slowly creating another nest, so that when they get ready to fly away, they fly into a whole new nest. It's kind of that ideology. Kemp was doing brick by brick to his master plan. So by the time we got to this point in history, the house is already built. All he got to do is buy furniture. That's kind of how this happened. Like, it was set in motion years ago. Nobody was paying. He did little things that nobody really paid attention to. That became a big thing.
No.
I'm just like,
it's suspicious. I feel like you need to do an episode about ethics, because ethics is a very it's a dry subject matter, and it's increasingly important every single time this comes up. You should do a nonprofit ethics TV show. Episode.
Okay, that's.
I mean, like, I'm not trying to talk about churches, but I'm just saying, in a lot of environments, there are less oversight than there are in other environments. So I'm just saying, I feel like if this is a thing that people just believe they should have, is just immunity and like being able to operate behind the scenes, I'm not here. I'm not for it.
But how we get to churches? We talking about government.
Well, because I was thinking about the leadership plan. I was thinking about the Now Network, and I was just assuming, well, if you're discussing nonprofit founding, I think ethics should be discussed here. I think it should be discussed in depth, because this just keeps going. There is.
Okay, I mean but things are changing even in the nonprofit sector, because the Vatican just had this whole summit where they got together and it was like, okay, we got to do something about this gay clergy and y'all feeling these little boys up. We got to do something about this. Like, this is out of hand, and, we're continuously getting flack for it. And they finally decided to make a move. I'm not looking at it in front of me right now, but they finally decided to make a move. Mm-hmm. But I want to stay in that sexual harassment thing because it's made me think about the way we do business. So in the old days, it was okay to build a rapport with people where, repeat guests come in, you give them a hug, and y'all know each other on a first name basis. With the employees, you give them hugs and hey, I love you, I'll see you when you get back, because y'all see each other more than your family see you because you're at work most of the time. Mm-hmm. Now you can't even really do those things. Like, I'm reading this article that was talking about the Ted Baker situation, and now some of this was a little creepy because one person was like, hey, I've seen the CEO ask the young female members of the staff to sit on his knee, cuddle him, or let him massage their ears. Creepy. Absolutely creepy.
Wait, let him what?
And let him massage their ears. I don't know what that's about. He must have an ear fetish. Don't really know. That part's a little creepy.
That is specific and creepy.
That's a little creepy.
That is very specific.
But then they also were saying that, I guess the CEO's name is Ray. So they were saying Ray greets many people he meets with hugs, be it a shareholder, investor, supplier, partner, customer, or colleague. I'm thinking about that because, that in the older days, that is how we built business. Handshakes, hugs. That's what you did. Now it's like, if I do that, are you going to sue me? Like Kimberly, we've known each other for 20-something years. You've been a faithful client. We give hugs, and she decided she watching TV one day and it's like, you know what? That's sexual harassment. He hugged me too long.
Okay, so
really, is that where we at now? That you held me too long, or and then it's funny because the things that should be sexual harassment, we don't say anything about. I think about the Bishop and Ariana Grande. Look, if she'd have said sexual harassment, I wouldn't have much to say. Bro, you held her a little too long. Your hand was a little too low. I'm not even going to front.
I think this is a new thing, though, because like BBC did a report on this in 2018 about why hugs are not inappropriate in the workplace. Business Insider and Money.com tried to basically create the same clarity, saying that there's times where it's okay and not okay to hug. A guy that I work with, he basically did the same thing, and I've been to the office for the first time in forever because I don't go often, and I tried to give him a hug, and he was just like, oh okay, because he was basically like, somebody had a conversation with him about not hugging, and so he just quit hugging. He was like, oh yeah, I forgot what these were or whatever, and I was like, and this is the South, and I know a lot of people do hug.
I'm guilty of it.
if I mess with you, if I know you, you know what I mean?
Which again, we spend more time in our workplace than we do with our families in reality, because most of us work. I can't say us. I don't work that much. Well, if you count the TV and the radio, if you count everything in combination, I do work that much. But at my actual job, I don't work that much. But most people do. So you spend more time with, and everybody should think about this. You spend more time with the people you work with than pretty much anybody else in your circle, because most of us spend at least 40 to 50 hours at our jobs.
Right.
So you want it to be a place that you enjoy coming to. And ideally, you want to be a place you enjoy. So that's gonna require you to make some homely little changes. I might want to hug my coworker. When I think about the things that I do at work with my coworkers, the trash I talk, the names I call them, because people don't realize how different I am at work. But the names I call them, the things we do, we do so much. The thought of somebody going to HR one day and saying, you know what, Ricardo called me a name, and I thought about it. I don't really like being called that name, versus you coming to me and saying, look, bro, you called me a name. We cool, but that wasn't cool. Can we not do that again?
There's something Job Central has to say about this. There are 5 rules about hugging at the workplace. Number 1 is do not hug those you supervise. saying if you're a boss, it's important to maintain a relationship with your employees. And
Oh my God,
hugging
that's
may seem like
ridiculous.
a harmless gesture, but you may unknowingly cross the line of professionalism, which can lead to misunderstandings, particularly for a male superior and a female subordinate.
That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous.
Someone says, while a comforting hug might be appropriate during personal moments, doing so in a dimly lit corner of an office can raise concerns. Now, this is funny because a lot of offices are very poorly lit. Ergo, maybe if Pam, nosy, lonely Pam, is across the way, peeking her head up from her cubicle, she may see some things that aren't really going on, if you think about it.
Or if Pam likes a superior and she
yeah.
get mad that Jennifer has more attention for him because maybe she has a different role,
Right.
then she can spark something that's not even there.
Right.
But
This is rule number 2.
what?
Rule number 2, don't hug constantly. It says hugging should occur during spontaneous moments. Maybe someone has announced a pregnancy. Maybe someone has returned from a long vacation. A hug on a daily basis for a coworker that you see literally every 24 hours is inappropriate.
God. So now we dictating when I can and can't hug. What are we doing with life
It
right
says
now?
Once they become a habit, they lose their purpose. So, I mean, do you hug people every day at work? If you think about it, do you hug them every day?
No, God, no, I don't. Well,
So-
yeah, it depends because but then I think about, because y'all know I'm a generational leadership theorist, so I think about the generations. There are certain generations that they welcome that kind of behavior because they want to feel like they belong. For other generations, belonging means you give me extra work or you give me specific tasks that make me feel good about myself. But there are other generations that's sliding downward that embrace, that team love environment, that we're cool like that, we can dap each other up or we can give each other hugs. And if we don't, then I don't feel like I belong in the environment.
I see.
So to say that this, and that's what I call blanket management, to
Yeah.
say that everybody should do their management this way across
Yeah.
the board is not fair because
agree.
I may work, when I worked in a fast food place, the way that we made each other feel welcome and a part of the team was we did certain things. Look, when you on a drive-through window for 10 hours straight and people cussing you out and acting a fool and throwing money through the window at you, you want to walk out every 5 minutes. We had to have a different culture to make sure that we understood that we got each other back. So if I call John, who's the manager, John coming to the window, and he's trying to save the business, but at the same time, he's not throwing me under the bus. Whole different ballgame than if I work in a call center and, we are there to do a job and go home.
You know why this can get fishy is because men don't always hug other men the way that they hug women as often. Like
That's
it's
very
just not
true.
quite as often. But it's so one of these, the final rule I'll just read, it just says don't be a creep, meaning don't make a statement like I love your warmth or you smell
says that?
amazing. Just don't compliment. They're saying don't compliment somebody mid hug.
So don't be creepy. That's like,
Basically,
don't be.
that's what they said. Don't be
Don't
creepy.
be creepy.
What they mean is don't say something like that during a hug. There was an incident that came up in Yolo County where
What? Where is that?
I don't know. This was an actual case. It was called
Yolo
it was
County?
Ninth Circuit. So it's in our same circuit. I don't know if it was Georgia or Florida or Tennessee, but it was in our same. That's Sixth Circuit. It was in our same circuit. These two coworkers that worked together for over 12 years had probably hugged over 100 times, which is about once per month. So, but this was a hugger. He was a man who hugged anyone. So the woman's name is Zetwick. Essentially, they were leaving their usual hug. One turned right, one turned left. They hadn't planned. They kissed. It was a partial kiss on the mouth, which became a complaint. Ultimately, went all the way to the Ninth Circuit, which means that it went to an appeal. And the circuit court said that it did not constitute sexual harassment, but it was possible for a jury to conclude that it does. So the jury, I guess, decided it was sexual harassment because Zetwick said after that happened, the workplace environment changed and that she became stressed and anxious about his touching because she believed it had sexual overtones. Now, she said she lost sleep, had to take sleep aids because of her anxiety, etc. So she had a
good
claim about
Lord.
this. My thing is, I don't know enough about this case. I haven't looked at this case, but my thought is just that it changed because you got weird about it. Is what it sounds like. It sounds like you got really
I mean,
weird
it
about
sounds like you, boo.
And
It
that,
sounds like you, boo. I'm just saying.
Yeah, maybe this had been like 10 years boiling up inside of Petro, and he just been waiting for his chance.
Was she pretty?
I don't know.
Was she pretty?
Does
That's
it
the question.
matter?
It does because then there may be some ulterior motive if she's pretty. I mean,
People can get molested or raped or abused or harassed,
absolutely
looking like anything.
Absolutely, we talking about this particular case. Like, I want to know what she looked like.
Especially if
Like,
somebody waited for 12 years. That means that
if Julio's sitting around and she's just beautiful and he's just like, I want that one moment. I just seen that one moment. Like, I never thought that I would see that we jumped to sexual harassment so fast. Like,
Yeah.
we get there, we don't even think about it. Like, Overtly, yeah. Now, if you walking up and your boss grabs your butt, like, good morning, Kristen, he grabs your butt and squeezes it, hold it ball
Yeah,
game.
hold it. Yeah, hold
it in ball game. First of all, if you don't hit it with a left hook, I got questions for you.
Yeah.
But reciprocally, if Kim over there likes her butt squeezed and was hoping the boss squeezed her butt, and he does it, and
then
she doesn't say anything.
Then Kim is setting every other woman up for the okie doke because he's gonna get comfortable doing that. He's gonna confuse Kim for somebody else one day. Now, what I did see is that when I did this when I was coming into law school and I took a sexual harassment basically class, and then they essentially said that if you're not a hugger, you say that. You say, I don't like hugs, handshakes are great, or I'm not a hugger. You announce.
God, now you got to put a disclaimer on.
They say you should announce it, and they say that like a work environment should never force it. So it's like if somebody's a hugger, that's one thing, but you should never be like, no, team hugs, everybody gets a hug. Oh, I don't care. I give hugs. Don't do that. If you're just like, I give everyone a hug, I don't care. Lawsuit. You're asking for it. Like, don't just say you're gonna give everyone a hug. I've seen people do that.
But I saw somebody
and you're gonna hug the wrong You're gonna hug
at
the
a
wrong
conference,
one.
and people. Well, I mean, she hugged the person. They look a little uncomfortable, but I mean,
They could have been calling their lawyer.
I mean, she looked a little uncomfortable, but she actually. But I've also seen the reciprocate. Somebody was like, I don't receive hugs. And then they got a hug, and we saw why they don't receive hugs because they just went to bawling their eyes out because nobody gives them that kind of attention because they have a wall up. So they were like, I don't take hugs because, they have that wall up, and they knew if somebody actually gave them a warm embrace and felt like they cared, they were going to crumble because they've been holding stuff in for years.
Is this you?
No, Simone, I don't need hugs.
this
I get plenty of hugs. I'm not hug deprived.
It just sounds like you can't force it.
Well, no, I
force your
my mind.
affection
I
on
was
somebody
thinking
else.
about the nonprofit setting, the people that we deal with all the time, who actually, have the walls up because of what they do, and they, I don't want to hug, and then you be like, come on, give me a hug. I don't want to hug, and you give them a hug, and then they just bawl their eyes out because the reality is, they have a terrible home life, and they're just trying to get through the day, so they don't want anybody to touch them and feel like they care about them.
I could see an overly aggressive hugger rationalizing all that and then going in for it with somebody who does not want
I
to
feel
hug.
like you threw me under the bus.
No.
People, have I ever hugged you?
Well, no, but I'm a hugger. I'm a hugger.
I'm
now,
surprised. You are not a hugger.
I'm a hugger.
You are not a hugger.
I actually do. I like
I have
hugging.
not seen you hug anybody in here.
Well, I like hugging though. I do. The only thing is that some people do hug very hard. Like some people are very rough with they squeeze, and I don't like that.
God, now you got stipulations of who can hug you.
No, they can hug me, but I'll never hug you again if I feel like if I feel like I burst a blood vessel, it will be our last hug. But no, I have no problem with hugs.
I'm concerned. I'm just.
No problem with hugs. I don't do kisses. I don't do what's another thing? But it really is subjective. There are people that I would not want to hug that I'm thinking about that I work with. Like even like this last time I went to the type of job, there are definitely people that I'd be like, I don't want to hug that person. Do you know what I mean? But I just wouldn't. I would make it obvious. It would be awkward and uncomfortable, and I would just kind of like.
I can see I've seen your uncomfortable phase. I'm just like, yeah, that should be a given. All right, so
just watch your hugs.
Clearly, I'm just like, at this point we're now doing blanket management, so you can no longer hug people because 30% of the population doesn't like hugs. So the other 70 of us who do, we can't get them now. So way to go 30%. They win again.
Boo.
Way to go 30%. You win again.
Ruin it for everybody.
Oh, exactly. All right, so House Democrats start ramping up their investigations of good old Trump today as a part of the House Judiciary Committee will request documents from more than 60 people, including Donald Trump Jr. and the Trump Organization Chief Financial Officer Alan Weisselberg. Committee Chairman Jerry Nadler told ABC News over the weekend that it's time to present the case to the American people about obstruction of justice, corruption, and abuse of power.
You know what's so unfortunate about this? As we get deeper into 2019, I'm actually getting used to it. President Trump.
There lies in the point. And I said this when
Do you like him now? You like him?
Oh, you almost made me
Are you
cuss.
getting warm to
You almost made me You almost made me curse.
Okay, where are you going with this?
No, but I will say that. But I said this when the Dems took the House, and they start screaming, "Oh, we want the income tax." No one. You don't have time for this. You literally don't have time for this. Like at this point, his tenure is almost over, and the only thing we should be worried about is: do we have enough firepower to take down the demigod in the multiverse, or do we need to brace ourselves for another 4 years? That's where we need to be right now. Like you trying to prove a case that Trump is a dirtbag or, that he's this. Look, the American people have spoken. They don't care. We've accepted what it is. It is what it is. this is another waste of resources. And by the time you present this case, because this year is fastly running through, we're already in March. By the time you get this case before the American people, it'll probably be mid-year.
Right.
And
Yeah,
what would you have accomplished? Oh, you got him impeached, which is a very extreme,
Right,
a
right,
very extreme variable.
very.
You got him impeached. He was almost done. Now, granted, if you get him impeached, I don't think he can run again. So, yeah, but again, impeachment doesn't happen in 2 days.
And for impeachment, the American public has to be on the same side. It doesn't happen with just the will of Congress. It ends up becoming a very, I could imagine, oh my God, I can see the mobs in the streets right now. It's just not going to happen without the will of the people. So yeah, CNN predicts this is going to take months, several months, just to do this investigation. And they literally don't have all the evidence right now to go straight to impeachment anyway. So the thing is, like, unless you've got a golden goose
Or a smoking gun somewhere.
and a decent candidate to put up in its place, I don't personally see the point. I personally don't see the point. Now,
I actually agree with you.
I mean, now if that were to happen way down the line, I do believe that a Democrat could probably beat Mike Pence. He's not the most charismatic individual, so it's possible that he would not stand a chance to just remain as a solo commander in chief. But it's just all this is this is not impeachable. What it is like you said, it's character degrading. It's you were trying to preserve your own image. You were firing people that could have probably hurt you. You're just being a sleazeball. It is not impeachable. And even if it was, you'd have to get his entire base basically to shut up and let you run with it. Because without that political will, it wouldn't happen. To impeach him, you need both bodies.
Yep.
And both bodies are not going to do that unless they think they'll get reelected. So if they're worried they're going to leave and get shot, they're not going to impeach Trump. Trump has a very faithful base. Trump has a dangerous base.
Very.
So for them to feel like, okay, I'm going to go against this base and vote for this impeachment, they've got to believe that that the base is for it too, which,
I'm just impressed that the Democrats and the Republicans voted to stop this emergency.
the national emergency declaration.
Yeah, I'm impressed because I did not expect that to happen. But I also didn't know apparently that once both sign off on it, it goes to President Trump for his signature.
Right, so he can veto it, but and then have to get 2/3 together to keep it, and which they could. They very well could. You have to have 2/3 of both bodies. If he vetoes, I assume he'll veto it.
He called it, so
right,
why
I
would
assume
he
he'll
veto it?
So it's just a question of whether or not they'll have 2/3 together to stop his veto. But again, as the clock keeps ticking and that money keeps getting spent, what we could end up in a situation is it's almost like we talked about a little bit before. The wall gets started, the beams go up, and then it's discontinued for whatever reason. And then we just end up with some beams and a lot of wasted money, and a lot of wasted time. Like, at the end of the day, he is rolling with this. So the question is, how can Democrats should be focused on legal citizenship. Democrats could focus on citizenship. We've got 800,000 plus Dreamers here. Can we help them? You know what I mean? Can we make the process simpler? People that are seeking asylum right now, half of them have had to go to Mexico in these last several months. Can we reopen our ports of entry? You know what I mean? Like, there are other things that we can do. I just really hope, like you said, that all their energy is not going to just stopping the wall, because Trump is the type to throw lots of buoys up in the air and keep people very busy.
Yep. He's like a
and
juggler.
very occupied.
He's like a juggler. He just throw more balls into it and keep it going around.
Right.
And we'll be like,
and while
balls.
you're chasing that down and shouting that down, and and then in the meantime, we've wasted 4 years and got nothing done except being a thorn in Trump's side. So,
okay, so there's another story that I saw that actually kind of, and I had this. It was funny because I was talking about this the other day because and it's the Good Samaritan thing. And for those who don't know, Good Samaritan is somebody who will step up in the time of danger and people's dire need to kind of be a light or kind of be the help that they need to get them out of a bad situation. And me and somebody was talking the other day. We was like, I think we saw somebody on the side of the road and both of us kept going. And it was like, well, dag, in the old days, we would have stopped them in a Good Samaritan and, help her change that tire. And it was like, well, why don't we do it anymore? Oh, because we might get shot or killed or ran over or sued. And I'm just like, or sued. I mean, it's just like, you can't even, times have changed so dramatically. Like, it's just like, you don't, and I say this all the time, you can't go to church anymore. You can't go to the movies. You can't go to work and not, wonder where are all the exits. Or if somebody starts shooting, do I climb into vents? Where do the vents go? How am I going to get out this? Do I need to keep my keys on my person at all time? So if I have to hit the door, I can get to my car and not be running around the parking lot in circles like fish in a barrel. Yeah. The mere fact that we have to think about these kind of things now is really alarming and really disheartening to me because, I'm older, so it's really disheartening to me, And there was a case in Baltimore where a woman was stabbed to death at an intersection while she was trying to help a panhandler. And apparently now the story has shifted because it looks like her husband and stepdaughter are the actual suspects. Because initially, her name is Jacqueline Smith. She was killed in December after stopping her car to give money to a needy woman with a baby. And her husband told the police that a man approached her car, reached inside for her wallet, stabbed her, and then fled with the woman and baby. And now, apparently, the husband and the stepdaughter have been arrested in South Texas, reportedly on their way to leave the country. So they've been charged with first-degree murder, and no word yet on what evidence led to the charges or what the motive might have been.
Damn. I think about this all the time, too, because I've seen those films. And I've seen those documentaries.
Well, you don't watch much TV, so what film are we talking about? Because you don't watch anything that's worth watching.
I really don't.
So.
But there was a documentary which it was basically a prostitution ring, underground sex ring, and there was a woman who was on the side of the road. That was her thing. She was a decoy. So she was relatively young looking, looked distressed. She would hang out by this vehicle, waiting for people to pull over. Probably a female involved, and if there was another female to try to help her out, that woman would become the next recruit. Because people would just pop out of the bushes, and it was petrifying. So obviously that goes through my mind every time I think about stopping to help someone. And it's a shame because I have been in a similar situation. I remember, not often, but it has happened to me before. I was stuck in the snow. Our car got flipped over. I was like a couple blocks from the house, but people offered to drive us back, and I was like,
I
okay, cool.
that.
So we did. Yeah. So I mean that was helpful. I could have been anybody. So it's very hard for me not to do it. My wife said she did this once and then had to skirt. So I'm sorry, honey, but I gotta tell the story. She went to college in Shawan, which is in a tiny town in North Carolina. And she pulled over for somebody. There was a woman who said she really needed some help and she needed to get a ride to her car because her car was broke down, which was, I guess, an exit off the highway. My wife said, okay. And then when she got in the car, she was like, okay, can you stop me at the motel so I can get something? So she ended up having to go to this motel, which is actually like 3 miles out the way, down some winding road. And so, but she got out the car, she left to go to the hotel, and then my wife got scared and just peeled off. Because she was like, this woman asked for a ride to her car, and now I'm in a place where nobody would be able to hear me scream. And so she just peeled off, which I get, because you just never know. You just don't know.
Well, again, now that I do this and all the other stuff that I do, I look at how things are interconnected. So if we're saying that inflation is going up and the cost of living is going up and the middle class is slowly decimating or becoming either low or high class, that means more people are going to be in need. So if this is going to become the norm that we can no longer help people and be good Samaritans, what is going to happen to, women who become homeless with kids and we see them on the side of the road, and they're begging for change, but we don't want to stop because we don't know if we're going to get scammed, hurt, or killed. Like, all this stuff is interconnected. So I'm just like, what does that mean moving forward as a society that we can't have empathy for people that we see randomly in the streets?
Well, so panhandling is different than like pulling over for help, though, because that, what you're asking, what you're getting into. I think
Do we?
You presume.
Because, you can see the blind person who we've seen it more and more. The blind person on the side of the street that, is like, I'm blind, blah, blah. And then nighttime comes and he gets up, walks around the back of the building to get into a BMW.
Okay, so, yeah, I'm not saying they're genuine, but I'm saying, like, okay, if this person's asking me for money, I'm expecting this to be a short interaction. Versus if somebody's pulled over, like, under the hood of their car, like, they're stranded or, like, they need help, it's like, okay, they could be in the car with me. How long are they going to be in the car with me? Am I going to make it out of the car? Or do they just need help fixing their car? I can't fix a car. Do they not have a phone? Should I let them use my phone? You know what I mean? Should I dial the number for them and put it on speaker? Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's more to it. If somebody's asking for change, you're really just like, okay, well, I either have it or I don't. And, it's
Well, they get kind of bold
simple.
now because somebody was like, well, can you just go to the ATM and get some money?
You wouldn't believe what's...
And I was actually leaving the mall, so I'm just like...
I believe you.
Like, what? Wait, did you just ask me to do that? Like...
Yeah, I believe
Did
you.
you just tell me to go to the ATM and get you money that you didn't work for? Because for whatever... I don't even know your situation. Like, you could be trying to get some Cinnabons.
Yeah.
God, now that says Cinnabon, now I want one. And you could be trying to get a Cinnabon.
A guy on the church steps, sleeping on our church steps, was not a Christian. Far from it. Was not a very nice young man. He said he had been homeless for all of 3 weeks. He couldn't believe it. F this, be that. Atlanta's such a POS. We don't have this. We don't have that. Like, he was griping, and I'm like, well, I didn't imagine homelessness was an easy plight. You know what I mean? He seemed very disappointed with our homeless services and facilities, and I thought, well, sir, I don't know what his expectations were. He wanted help going to get some clothes washed at a laundromat or something like that, and I was like, we were on our way to church. literally on our way to church. I said, well, I don't have any cash, but he was just like, see, they take cards. People always tell me that. People always tell me there's no cash. They take cards at the laundromat. All you have to do is take me over to the laundromat and just swipe your card. I'm just like, hold on a minute, sir. There are skimmers, okay, they can keep that card number for who knows how long.
Okay.
I mean,
And now I got to drive you over to the laundromat and swipe every time
Right.
you put a load
I
in
was
the
gonna
dry.
say, and then how are you gonna do the drying? I'm gonna have to wait for an hour until you're eligible so you can dry the clothes with my card. It's just a lot. I don't think it's a lot.
I don't know. I'm starting to feel like and Erica's gonna kill me for this. Erica Wright is gonna kill me for
she
this.
just reached out to me,
she,
too.
She gonna kill me for this. But I feel like some of the homeless have an entitlement complex. Like they feel like we're supposed to stop what we're doing to make sure you're good. You do realize, and I have this problem. I don't know why people think just because I have TV and radio that I make money, which I should be, and we're working on that. But I still work, and I have to remind people, you do realize I don't do this full time. I still have a job, which should tell you something about what I'm trying to build and do. So the ideology that you think that I'm XYZ, and I do say that because I am going to be, but the fact that and you know me, so you know I'm working. So why do you automatically assume that I have $20 to give you?
I mean, even it's like even when they don't, it's just like, man, like to me, it's more like, okay, so don't be the rudeness or the aggressiveness is one thing. The second thing is just like the expectation, like you said, the entitlement. Like this guy was saying, they give you, if you go to this shelter, I guess this provision place, they give you $4. But every laundromat in this whole place is $5. Every single one. It's $2.25 for this or $2.25 for that. So it's more than $4. So I was just like, well, man, they really don't have this together, huh? But they probably, considering you came here voluntarily homeless. Maybe. So where were the provisions? Are you coming from someplace nicer? Is that still an option? I mean, you're basically saying like, I can't believe I just got here and I'm homeless and this is just a mess. This is not what who told you to come here homeless, sir?
I'm gonna start making them fill out a survey. I'm not giving you nothing until you fill out this survey. You can read, right? All right. Well, I want to know why you're homeless. Like, what happened? What? I want to know. I want to know the details.
Come on.
I want to know the details.
That's a little much.
I want to know the details. I'm just saying.
I do think you just got to be a little careful. You got to be, this guy literally was saying that he's like, I don't have to rob nobody. And now he said that
I
passively.
put a look at my face. I'm like, so this conversation's over, bro. I'm getting ready to go.
He said that passively.
And
I'm on the church steps. I'm like, if you don't open this door, he's like, I don't have to rob anybody. And my wife's like, don't rob. She's like, don't do that. Don't get in trouble. Don't rob anybody. He's like, well, I already did. I robbed that gas station over there. He said, I can't go back over there.
What?
My heart is just pounding. I'm like, he's
see, at this point, I have my keys in my pocket and they're gripped.
I'm like,
so
if you don't open these church doors, so I can pass through here.
But I actually had so before, because apparently they closed down, which I didn't know. Gladys Night Chicken and Waffles in, I think it's Midtown
I didn't
area.
know that.
Yeah, apparently they closed down. They kind of needed to.
Oh.
Which I remember they got busted.
I always saw a line down the thing.
Well, they had had a health debacle where they failed, but there was a lot of homeless people that hung around there. And I'll never forget, I wanted to go for the first time for my birthday, and this aggressive homeless guy came up to me on my birthday, and I was with my cousin, and he was just like, yo, can I get some change? I don't have any. Yo, bald head. You said and he literally followed me to the door, and apparently they knew him. So all the servers came to the door and was like, bro, you can't be in here, blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, dang, so homeless people have gotten that aggressive?
It's like a problem. Like, well, yo, it's
And I think that kind of scarred me from going. I think that's one of the reasons I don't go downtown, because there's a lot of homeless people downtown, and they're slightly aggressive, and I don't want to have to go to jail for beating up a homeless person. But dude, if you ever approach me like that again, like it's going down.
I've seen it. I've seen some people just walk up to somebody and just start cussing them out, and I mean, I've definitely.
You need me, like I don't.
It's more. I mean, man, it's surprising, and I know it has a lot to do with mental health. And you know what I mean? Like, you never know someone's bag. I can imagine it gets very frustrating. I never heard someone articulate their frustrations in such a way.
Oh, yeah. I was blown. And I was younger then. So I think that was like 5 years ago. And I was just like, wow. Like,
like I'm never coming back here.
Yeah, I was like, I don't even know what to say. I'm just like, did you really? And like I said, at this point, I had on actually the same coat. And I had my keys in my pocket. So at this point, I've gripped the driver key. Because I'm like, if dude touches me, I'm coming out the bag swinging. Like, and I'm going for blood.
Do you have a carry permit?
For my keys? No, I don't.
Oh,
I don't. For my keys, like
I have an open carry license.
Yeah, not for my keys. No, I don't. But I have a car that I'm paying on every month, so I have the right to have keys. But I'm just like, wow. So we doing that?
I'm just saying, like, maybe that's an idea. Like,
saying.
listen, Atlanta's not the kind of place where I feel like you can just throw your attitude around. You will find the one. You will catch
these paws.
We were talking about white men being afraid of black people. I was coming off the highway just the other day. There was a white man driving a Honda CRV. Anyway, he whizzed past me, cut me off. I let him go. Gave him to God. By the time I got
Gave him to God.
By the time I got to the exit, he had pissed off some black woman so bad that she got out of her car. So she was blocking him. She was blocking the whole exit because she was over it, and I sympathized. She got out of her car. By the time I get there, I see her approaching his vehicle. She's approaching the door. He tries to swerve around her, almost hits the barrier because he can't get around her. Tries to skirt off and squeezes his little Honda CRV in the off-ramp to get away from her. He skirted so fast.
She was lucky because she could have gotten killed.
She was remembering his license and everything. I was like, sis, he just did it to me. Not even 2 miles yonder. He did the same thing to me. And she was like, yep. She was like, PBB, whatever his license is. She was writing it down. She was ready to go.
Don't let aggression get you killed. Like,
that's
you
why
never
I have a dash cam in my car.
Like, you and this.
I have left my car before. I've gotten better. I've since I got saved in 2016, so I've since gotten better. But before that, I have left my vehicle. I was ready to go on the connector.
What?
I left my car. I was like, I don't care who that is. It's on
this, and it's foolishness like this is why I've decided probably not to move from where because I live in Cobb now, and I was considering moving someplace else. And this is foolishness like this is why I won't, because everything I do is down the street, so I don't have to deal with no traffic to get where I'm going. And the time of day that we do the show, I don't have to encounter traffic except when I'm leaving. That's you fools like you are part of the reason.
Road rage is people cannot drive, and people play games with my life every day.
So you got in the car and try to beat them up?
This day I got out of my car because it was just a problem. It was just because I'll play that game with you. You want to honk? I'll honk. You want to honk? I'll honk again. You want to honk? I'll honk again.
That's another reason I don't go downtown.
Around me, I will follow you. I work for myself. I will trail you as far as you want to go. How you want to do this? It's really not a problem. I get so frustrated by that. And then when people want to act scary, then we have a real problem. I almost was killed by a white woman a couple weeks ago. I was on the highway. She came onto the highway and went straight into my lane. No explanation for it. 5 lanes. Normally someone comes into the far right lane. She decided to just cut me off, and then she thought she would just proceed on about her merry way. And she regretted that. She regretted that very, very much.
What did you do?
I just went all the way to Peachtree City as was necessary.
So you went out of your...
I went very,
you went out of your way.
Very far. She was petrified.
That's ridiculous.
It was deserved. Every day on the interstate, somebody tries to end me.
Never taking a road trip with you. Never.
I'm just saying.
All right. So in the last segment, in the grand tradition of what has now become Docu 2019, Part 1 of the new HBO documentary, Michael Jackson Leaving Neverland, aired last night. Part 2 airs tonight, and some are already saying it will force a re-examination of the King of Pop's legacy. Part 1 focused on Wade Robson and James Safechuck, who accused Jackson of sexually abusing them when they were kids. Part 2 deals with the Jacksons' 2005 trial on child molestation charges and Robinson and Safechuck's decision to now come forward with their accusations. Jackson's estate blasted the documentary and filed a $100 million lawsuit. Now, let us not underestimate the power of a docuseries. Okay. Because of that, R. Kelly actually got put in jail and charged because of that docuseries, which was 6 parts.
Yeah.
So
sat there for a while too.
This is a whole different ball game than what it used to be. So, what are your thoughts?
So I was looking at one of those articles because they were basically trying to speculate if Michael Jackson was abused and if that caused some level of abuse. When we said this before, I said I believe that you should just let the dead rest, and I very much do. I don't know what Leaving Neverland. I haven't seen it yet. I know that this was supposed to be based on I guess 2 victims that are now in their 30s, etc., and have talked about what it has been like to have gone through what they've gone through. I did hear speculation that I guess they had to do drills with Michael Jackson to see who could get on their clothes the fastest, just in case they were ever caught, just to see how fast they could put their clothes on. I'm disappointed because this is old.
Yes.
Because I'm worried about its authenticity, and I just feel like, again, I feel like we have a court system for a reason. We have a process for a reason. I don't see the benefit to the culture or to humanity or to society for putting something like this together because the man is gone. And I think he's been gone 10 years now. Longer?
Yeah, it's been a minute. I
think it's just the decade anniversary or so recently. So to me, it's more disturbing than anything else. I don't think it's helping anyone. You know what I mean?
Well, that's the issue. I'm just like, okay, you know, R. Kelly's still alive. So if we feel like that he needs to pay for his crimes, because R. Kelly's such a situation, because I'm like, it's not something we did not know. We might not didn't know the details, but it's not like we didn't know. The man urinated on the girl. We saw the video of it. Like, what?
But
10
he wasn't
years
in
ago?
trouble. He maybe should have gotten in trouble for it, and people would have been satisfied.
Well, again, it wasn't something we knew R. Kelly had some issues, but
I don't think people thought that he really had some issues. I don't. I think it was kind of easy to be like.
I don't think people still do.
I think
he
they were
has issues.
dismissive. See, I think they were dismissive of it. And what we have seen in history is that if you get away with it once, you don't get away with it twice. OJ got how many years? He got a year for every stabbing when he was charged with robbery, because you know he killed those people. Killed the hell out of them people. Forgive me, Lord.
I've
Them
never.
poor people.
I'm not even gonna lie. I was never invested in that case. I didn't even know who the players were. I didn't know who O.J. Simpson was. I didn't know the players. So it was kind of like
butchered them. So again, but as an older man, he wasn't lucky twice. It's not gonna happen twice. So, and I mean,
well, he has psychological issues because you want to kick in people's doors and stuff. So that's the whole different ballgame. But
yeah. But so for R. Kelly, this could be his time for reckoning. You know what I mean? This could be time that all those chickens, you know, begin to roost.
Which is fine, but you know, when we talk about Michael Jackson, you're actually talking. I know we give R. Kelly, you know, his little title. What do we call him? The Pied Piper of R&B. Okay, we'll give him that. He's earned it, hands down. Michael Jackson, on the other hand, was a game changer for the music industry.
Yeah.
So I'm not as easily to say, get him, take him down. I'm not easily to say that. Like, and he's gone. So it's kind of the same thing I feel about Whitney Houston. I don't really watch a lot of documentaries on Whitney Houston. I did watch the one Whitney that just came out, I think, a year ago. It was actually amazing. I didn't think there was anything else we could learn from Whitney, because I was like, everybody tried to tell her story so many different ways. There's nothing left. There was the picture was painted better with Whitney. I would definitely say that. So if you have Hulu, go on Hulu. It's on Hulu. That's where I watched it. It's called Whitney. And they painted a better picture, and they had her actual family in it. So Sissy was in it. Pat's always in anything. You can get Pat to come to anything. But Sissy was in it. Her brothers were in it. They actually had Bobby in it. So it was more of a collective effort to actually paint a better picture of what happened and what was going on. With this debacle, I'm concerned about what can happen from it, because like I said, we just saw what can happen from the whole R. Kelly thing. I don't want this to turn to some witch hunt for a dead man. And I don't want this to completely eradicate him, because we're starting to do that now. Things happen. We start erasing folks from history. I don't want that to be the case with Michael Jackson, because before you know it, we're going to have nobody's left in our history. They're going to be to wipe everybody away. We got to be careful of that, because, you know, it starts with one or two. But if you can erase Michael Jackson, that's a whole different ballgame. That's a whole different thing. So I'm really concerned about it. I'm not even going to say I'm going to watch it. I probably won't. But
yeah, I was gonna say I'm very torn about whether or not to watch it, but it's just like you just said, these documentaries are doing a lot. Like there's one coming out that I can't wait to watch on March 18th, and it's it's not about entertainment, but it's about Theranos. It's about Theranos, the company that was supposed to reinvent like the blood drawing game. They supposedly could test you for like over 200 diseases with the smallest of pricks and raise billions of dollars. It's called Out for Blood in Silicon Valley. It comes out March 18th, and it was basically it was a hoax. It was a fraud. They had no such miraculous device. So it's coming out March 18th. But there's a podcast that's already come out in like 6 pieces, and she's faced criminal charges now, even though the company's been disbanded for a little over a year. So she actually pled not guilty just recently to federal criminal fraud charges, with all these ex-employees coming out and talking about how they were silenced, and there was one woman who believed that she was being followed. I mean, just really creepy stuff. So these things are very revealing. This is like back to, I think, real investigative journalism that, you know, people are putting money into and mass releasing. So this one should be really good. Obviously, we have no stake in who Elizabeth Holmes is, I don't think, as a culture. But Michael Jackson is just, he went through this, I think, when he was living.
Yeah,
I think
he did.
He saw his reputation tank when he was living. And then he became Wacko Jacko shortly after that, you know, and they talked about Neverland, and they talked about his weird antics and the blanket on the balcony. So he went through, I think, a lot of reputation harm while he was living. and I think that was sufficient, if anything.
Yeah, I'm like,
there were
why
lots
we...
of terrible articles printed about him and things, and just the exploitation while he was here. So
Well,
I
it's
feel
just-
like he's gone. Let him rest.
And it's just frustrating. It's like, so now the family has to deal with this. So he's gone. So now the Jackson family has to deal
And
with
his
this.
children, by
Yeah.
the way, who are living and perfectly cognizant of everything that's going on.
And we're gonna turn to Janet because that's the one everybody knows. So everybody looking at Janet like, what you gonna do? Like, what you gonna do?
Right.
Janet has her own things to do. She has her own life to live. She
And
got a
baby.
baby. Like, it's... Come on, people. We gotta do better than this. Like, but I say this all the time about this court of public opinion, that now you can be tried and found guilty with minimal evidence, and your whole reputation can be shot. Like, we're not even taking you to court anymore. That's a dangerous place to be, and I don't want us to get to that place because then, who's the judge and the jury? Like, no, we should not allow this to be happening. So I'm concerned about it. We're gonna see how this plays out. I hope it ends well for the Jackson clan. And I hope they can get together and at least cover the kids because they're older now. They're pretty much adults. So that's people just want to beat a dead horse. So
Yep.
in funny news, so apparently they have a parrot problem. So can parrots get addicted to opium? Apparently they can. So poppy farmers in India say that the parrots are damaging their crops, getting to the opium in their plants.
Oh.
So I'm assuming that the opium is in the pesticides that
Gotcha.
they use on the plants. I guess the
Well-
birds have gotten addicted to the opium, so now they're destroying crops because they're crackheads
Maybe there's a reason for
or they're
that.
opium heads.
Maybe there's a reason for that.
What?
That they should be destroyed. We have a sincere crisis in this country. So maybe one of these sources is on its way out.
I just would love to see a bird.
On
be
drugs? You just want to see a
on-
high bird?
Exactly. I would love to see a high bird.
What is it with you on?
who
and
is
birds?
on? Oh, that's right. Yeah, and my friends were in favor of me jumping out of this plane and grabbing the two birds and then letting them go when I land. They actually thought it was a good idea. So I'm turning my nose up to UNRR for trying to dash my dreams of jumping out of a plane and grabbing
That
two
was
birds on my way
just-
down.
It's kind of sick, that's all. Not
So
trying
wow,
to
so
dash
now
it.
I'm sick because I want to jump out of a plane and grab
It's
birds on my
kinda
way
sick.
down.
It's kind of sick. I
You know
gotta
what?
admit. And I hate birds, and I think that's sick.
See, it all comes out in the wash. This is why you have a problem with me grabbing birds on my way down because you don't even like birds.
I don't like birds.
Why don't
but
you like birds?
But why should you kill them? Like, why should
I'm
you?
not gonna kill
The
them. I'm
altitude-
gonna hold
oh.
them. They fly that high, so why can't they
fly.
drop that high?
Why can't they fall?
Yes. You're not gonna disprove
Listen
my
to
theory.
the way that sounds.
You're not gonna disprove my
Um,
theory.
Listen. All I'll say is well, no, I don't like birds because they're loud. They're loud and they're annoying. I just don't
So
like
are
birds.
dogs,
Have you ever
and-
seen the bird? Whoa.
So are dogs.
Not all breeds. Have
Oh,
you
but
seen,
you must have a dog.
Yes.
Of
Have
course
you
you do.
seen the birds though? Have you seen that film?
The
You
one.
gotta check it out. Black and white.
Well, they did two versions. They had the black and white one.
Oh.
Then they did a remake because I think
Oh.
Leon was in the remake. Yeah, I think Leon was in the remake.
check
See, if
that
you
out.
watch TV more, you know these things.
See,
I
right.
think Leo was in the remake. No, I know the concept of birds
Yeah.
doesn't really appeal to me.
Petrifying. Petrifying.
Oh my god.
And I've been attacked.
Actually-
I've been attacked before.
It's funny because every time it comes to evil, you get the bird. Bird box. The birds were the
Yeah.
signaling that thing was coming.
Yeah.
A lot of times when birds start hitting windows and running into windows, you know something bad is getting ready to happen. So you should love
I
birds.
didn't know that.
Yeah, like
Well,
whenever.
crows. It's mostly crows and pigeons.
No, we don't like
The
pigeons.
rats up the
Pigeons are
sky.
gross.
Yes. But crows, I don't like crows.
Pigeons, crows are creepy.
Oh yeah.
They're just creepy.
vultures.
Oh,
Out in
vultures
the
are
country,
just beyond.
Out in the country.
Yeah, I know where I live. Yeah, vultures
Woo!
are
You
the
just
size
see them,
of
like,
deers.
circling for no reason.
Well, the funny thing is,
whatsoever.
when I was home like 2 or 3 weeks ago, I was laying in bed, and my grandma has a trailer, so I stayed in my grandma's trailer. She's passed, so I stayed in the trailer, and I was laying there, and I was like, all I hear is this, and I'm like, what is it? It's not Christmas, so that can't be reindeer. So I'm like, what is that trampling the roof?
Man
So
said
I was
reindeer.
like, when I talked to my dad, I was like, well, Dad, when I was in the house, I heard I swear it was like reindeer on the roof. He was like, no, those are vultures.
What the heck are they doing?
Why are vultures that heavy, and why are they sitting on top of the roof?
Was this?
I don't know. I never got any answers, but I never do when I'm home. I just know,
You never get answers when
I never get answers when I'm home.
Ain't
It's
that
just like,
something? That's so
I live
so
in the
much
country.
like I was gonna say that's the country. It is
yeah,
what it is.
there's no,
It is
exactly. It is what it is. So it's like, well, yeah, you heard vultures. Nobody's concerned that there are heavy vultures running around. What are they eating? Are they eating humans now?
Are they after humans?
I mean,
I mean,
what are they doing?
It scares the mess out of me. Even when I see crows hanging around, it scares the mess. If I had that is worth getting a gun in and of itself. I would go
To shoot
I
vultures?
would shoot birds all
Get a
day.
BB gun because I used to do that to get squirrels. Like I have a BB gun and just pop squirrels. Oh, squirrels are the rats of the sky or the rats of the trees. You want somebody rat with tails?
That's messed up.
Squirrels are rats with
Squirrels?
tails. How many squirrels have you seen run in front of your car and you think you ran them over and you spend 30 minutes trying to find them only to see that scoundrel running up the tree?
I've never spent 30 minutes trying to find a squirrel. Never.
Well, I
But
care
I know
about the
they're
squirrels.
harmless and helpless, and they don't bother me.
Ma'am, ever since I was in
They don't
undergrad,
shit on your car.
no,
excuse me, but- I mean, they're harmless.
no, they're not. Ever since because I went to school at Coastal Carolina and we had to cross through trees to get across campus. Ever since, I swear, a whole swoon of squirrels just started throwing nuts at me when I was trying to get through there to get to class. I'm done with them. So on that note, we're done for the day, and we will see everybody on Friday when Harriet Bradley joins us to talk about MARTA and the expansion of MARTA because she attends the MARTA meeting, so she has a insight into what's going on with MARTA. We never get to talk about it. So Harriet Bradley will be with us on Friday at 1 o'clock to talk about the whole MARTA debacle. And we will see you on Friday, same time, same place on the Leadership Blend with your host, Ricardo D. Rice.
IBNX Radio.